Shalom, Brukaba, welcome. Uh, I'm here today with Stephen and probably later Christian Gadfly. He'll hop on.
Ah man, I really was hoping he wouldn't show up.
I know he's just the worst, isn't he? How are you doing? How was your Hanukkah season?
It was rough. I mean, Hanukkah was great, but circumstantially, work there was some work stuff, machinery breaking, and so I'm still haven't caught up yet. So
I feel that.
this is a welcome not work thing to do. I'm so sick of work. Not my
uh,
in case my bosses see this. You know what? No, never mind. I won't say anything. I like work.
that's funny. Yeah, no, I'm quite ready myself to be out of that season of life, but we got some while. We got a while. Anyway,
Yeah.
today we'll be going through the Torah. And since you love the Torah, I think as much as I do, if not a little bit more, uh, I just let's just geek out about the Torah for a bit because the law is the most criminally underrated thing in the Bible. No one
I
understands
agree.
it, and it's so good. It's amazing.
Well, and I would say on top of being underrated, a lot of
Hello,
times denigrated even,
right?
unfortunately.
I know it's insane. And again, so for those who do not know, I'm not a Jew, even though my name is currently in Hebrew, and Stephen's
Oh,
not a
it sure
Jew.
is.
uh, and he is a Torah observant Christian, not for the purpose of salvation, but to be faithful to the law. I'm not a Torah observant Christian, but we both love the law and we've spent
Yet.
literal hours. We've spent literal hours discussing it together. So I love it. He loves it. We're gonna go through it. So that's the purpose of today's stream. Hopefully everyone had a great Christmas slash Hanukkah break. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, I guess we can just hop into it. We'll be joined a little bit later on. Um, okay, so I'm going to start in the Ten Commandments, Genesis or Exodus 20. Uh, Partly because we've gone through up until like 16, and from 16 to 20 is mostly just the Red Sea crossing. And I've already alluded to that in the past streams. So if you want to get my take on some of that stuff, you can go through the past streams. I'm going to go over more of it in my typology of Moses stream, which is going to be like 8 hours long. It's going to be great. Um, there's just so
That's
much
like
stuff
one
with
of yours and
Moses
my
and Jesus.
conversations.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm pretty excited about it. Anyway, today we're going to be going through 20 through 25, 24, and then like 31 to 36 or 37. We're going to skip the bit with uh the ark, the tabernacle, like so I want to do a separate stream on the typology of Jesus, and all of that stuff is just typology. Like every single thing from the priestly garments, the ephod, like all of it just represents Christ. So I want to have a separate stream for just the typology section, and I want to focus in on okay, what of this is amazing and miraculous and revolutionary compared to like the Code of Hammurabi and other legal contexts like the Hittite laws that what is being compared to for the Torah. And I want everyone to remember throughout the stream that the Torah was written around 1440 BC, maybe like 1439, 1438. Either way, it was written around that time period. So all of these laws are over 3,000 years old, and yet they are still better than what a lot of societies are practicing now. So, do you have anything you want to say before we hop into it?
Ah, nope, let's get into it.
All right. So, starting out with the Shema Israel. Uh, Well, actually, not quite the Shema. The Shema is Deuteronomy.
6:4, yeah.
On the
Or
world
as the
account.
kids say these days, but there's parts of 6:7 in there. Am I allowed to do that on the internet? Look, Chris, we're cool now. I just turned 40 and I'm still cool.
My wife loves this meme. Um, Not the 6-7 meme, but whenever kids say 6-7, that you go 8-9 as a refutation to it. Yes. Everything is typological. Christ, Fulakarna. Why are the comments so much bigger now? It's fine, but like these
They
things are
could just be a
massive on
little
screen.
bit bigger. It's actually, I can almost see them without my glasses, so that's pretty good. I've got a laptop over here because I can't see on my phone, but it records a lot better. And so I got the laptop over here so I can read along with you. There's just like a 6 or 7. Oh my gosh, I actually just did it. There's like a 6 or 7 second delay. So, but I wanted to be able to read along. I've got glasses issues at the moment, so.
Unfortunate. Okay. So then God spoke all of these words, saying, I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Based. You shall have no gods beside before me, beside me, however you want to translate it. I'm used to a different translation, so whenever I'm just reading off my memory, it's going to be different than what's on screen, and it's going to break my
Mhm.
brain a lot. Just ignore that when it happens.
No, that happens to me too.
Yeah. You shall not make for yourselves an idol or any likeness of what is in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth. You shall not worship them or serve them, for I, Yahweh your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving kindness to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commands. Wife is texting me. Okay. You shall not take the name of Yahweh your God in vain. Okay, they're on the in the closet, I think. Okay, I'll be right back. My
Okay.
wife needs.
Hey, look, this is the Steven Show. And for all you listening, you can follow me at. No, I don't. This is where I should do a little dance. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm space confined here in this little area where I've masterfully set up this beautiful set. I went to 14 years of college for interior design, and you can see the results of that here. And I'll just hold down the stream until Chris gets back. This is where I can now set up a GoFundMe uh, to get me a new pair of glasses while Chris is gone. I don't have the link yet because I just thought of it, but I'll put it down in the comments after the video posts. Yeah, he really shouldn't leave me alone here. I will now have a sip of water. Or four. This is where I say, how's everybody doing tonight? I think in the future, I will advise Chris if his wife has a question, she just put it in the comments. And that way, it does good for the channel, does good for the stream, and they can just communicate that way. You always got to think of these things. Well, anyway, I'm a YouTube amateur. And I'll tell you a little bit now about my lifestyle. So I do have, though, I will point out, back there, I bought that very long time ago. It is a paper reproduction of an actual Torah scroll that they'll use in the synagogues. And we can go over real quick the anatomy of one of these. This is the Hoshen or the breastplate, and it also comes with a yod. So while you're reading along, you use the yod to keep track of where you're at in the scroll. And I actually got to read from a real Torah scroll at my friend's bar mitzvah when he turned 13, and he honored me with the privilege of coming up to the scroll to read from it at his bar mitzvah, which was very fun. And generally, an actual Torah scroll will be, it will take a long time to make. Oh, hey, Chris.
Sorry
Hey, try
about
not to
that.
interrupt. I'm running my show here.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no,
My
it's okay.
daughter
I was
threw up
just,
on my bed, so I had to help my wife find some new sheets. But
ooh,
okay, you
that's
were
rough.
saying, continue on whatever you were saying.
Oh, I was just saying, like a real Torah scroll will run anywhere
Oh,
from like 30 to 100 plus $1,000 because the way they are made, Jews being Jews and being very good with rules and details, they have all these intricate. Oh, look at that! That is that a cup?
he said, "Yeah, it's a mug. It's my mug mug."
I hope you're drinking straight milk from there.
I really wanted to, but I have tea in here, so it's more like drinking the cow's urine. But
Getting a little Islamic.
he built us a cow. Anyway, sorry.
That is
You were
interesting,
saying
actually. Oh, I won't do that. No, I'm gonna stay on topic. So, what I was saying is,
the
one
cow
thing
pee?
that I almost went for is on eBay. I haven't looked in forever, but they advertise it as such, and I haven't checked, how trustworthy it is. But you can buy like 400 or 500 year old Torah pages from a Torah on eBay. Used to be able to. I don't know if they have them up. But the process for writing them is super interesting. You have to
Mm,
the scribe will make his own ink, and you do it. You have to do it on an animal skin, a kosher animal skin, and there's all sorts of rules about even if you mess up like one letter on a page, you have to start the whole page over. So they're really good at preserving God's word, which we now can verify after
right,
finding the Dead Sea Scrolls and
right.
the Leningrad Codex and everything. So that was me filling the time while you helped with the poor dog. But maybe we can get into that a little bit later. And
Actually, it's my daughter, not my dog, which is slightly
oh, your
worse.
daughter. Oh
Yeah,
no. Oh,
she's
that's so much
2
worse because
now.
that's can. Hmm.
She's not sick. She
Oh,
choked on
okay.
her water.
Okay.
So because she choked on her water, she vomited, obviously, as one
Ah,
does.
okay.
So yeah, my wife came down not in a happy state. Uh,
At least
she
she's not
couldn't
sick
find
though, because
anything.
that stuff is so contagious.
I know.
So,
I'm taking care of them tomorrow. So
hmm,
anyway, yeah, Torah scrolls are pretty based. They're pretty cool. It's like
very
obviously
cool.
they spend so much effort, and it's like they're very pretty to look at. I've held
Hmm.
one that was 1,000 years old in my hands.
Wow.
Uh, and it's on goatskin. And if you've ever touched them, they're little furry. You have
Hmm.
the slightest amount of like peach fuzz on them whenever you pick them up. And I was like, can I touch this? He's like, yeah, you shouldn't use gloves because apparently gloves are like bad because like the oils help preserve the scroll if it's on
Oh,
parchment.
interesting.
So they want you to touch it to get like your oils on it. So I was like able to pick up this like
Wow.
super ancient scroll and like read the Torah in Hebrew,
Where
and that
where
was
where
pretty
did
special.
you get to do that? Was it at a synagogue?
The university I work at,
Oh, wow.
yeah, they have a research department for linguistics. So I've
Wow.
also looked at a very old Quran too, and some pretty
Oh,
old
really?
Bibles. One of the Bibles was translated into like 13 or 14 languages. So it was the entire New Testament in like 14 languages,
Wow.
which is pretty awesome. And that was really old too. Like all of it was pre-printing press. So it was in 1,000 plus years old for all of them. But
Wow.
yeah, pretty cool. So me as not a Jew can say that I've probably done something that most Jews have not done. Just pick up an ancient Torah scroll. um anyway, so uh back on topic from that detour. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Okay, Christian is also being delayed by needy, whiny children. So awesome. You shall not take the name of Yahweh your God in vain, for Yahweh will not leave him unpunished who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh your God. In it you shall not do any work, you and your son or your daughter, your male or female slave, or your cattle, or your sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore Yahweh blessed the seventh day, the Sabbath, and made it holy. Honor your father and mother. Actually, stop and go through some of this. So the first command is pretty awesome. It's like strict monotheism. It's a
Mhm.
pretty massive departure from most of uh, the other traditions, just in general. Like Judaism is one of the first like pure monotheistic faiths coming out of the polytheism era. Obviously all religions were at first monotheistic and then they developed polytheism. We see this pretty easily with high deity worship and henotheism throughout the ancient world. China is one of the best examples of monotheism going into henotheism, going into polytheism, and then remaining polytheistic until other sects like Buddhism and Christianity started influencing, and then atheism obviously won over. Um, and you end up with either no God, which is the majority, because even the Buddhists don't believe in a God, technically. Uh, anyway, you have high deity worship being the original standard of one God, monotheistic faith, and then was likely Yahweh for everyone, because Yahweh knew everyone personally, because I believe in the Tower of Babel incident. And after the Tower of Babel, we get all the people splitting up and not knowing Yahweh the way that we used to before the Tower of Babel. From there, you have all these other religions coming about, and you go from monotheism to henotheism with smaller deities, likely demons or Nephilim or whatever you want to call them, that are gaining importance and gaining credibility and gaining notoriety. And then from there, you develop polytheism. By the time of Moses, it was almost only polytheistic. So for this strict monotheism to be kicking in, not only is this impressive because this is the only logically consistent version of God's existence, polytheism doesn't actually, it's not logically possible. If you go through the the philosophical arguments of God's existence, you never end up with polytheism. Um, so here we have the Bible making the correct claim that there's one God who created the universe, which is what we see from science nowadays. So he created the universe, and he rested, and he gave us rest, which is pretty based. But he takes us out of the land of Egypt, out of the land of the pagans, out of the land of slavery, and you will have no other gods before him. You shall not make an idol or any likeness of what is in heaven above, or the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth, showing that God is not a physical being. God is not, he doesn't have an avatar, he doesn't have any connection to this world. He is above, he is transcendent to the world. Yet we still see him interacting in the world a bunch of times, which gets back into the Trinity. But here you have specifically, God is not an animal. He's not the sun. He's not the moon. He's not a fish. He is above, strictly speaking. And that's pretty base. That's pretty awesome. You shall not worship the stars is also part of this. That's the
Mhm.
consequence of this. So no star worship, no sun worship, no moon worship. The things that every society has worshipped up into the Jews is gone. Pretty cool. You shall not worship them or serve them, for I are always jealous God. And then he bestows loving kindness to thousands, to those who keep me, who love me and keep my commandments. He loves us so much that even if he is going to punish sin, which a good father, a good judge punishes sin, the universalists who deny that are kind of dumb, in my opinion. But God punishes sin because he is good. If you are a good God, you have to punish sin. You just have to. Otherwise, you're not loving those who were victimized. If you are being merciful and loving to all the perpetrators, you're not actually being merciful and loving to the victims. So a good, loving God must punish sin, must punish evil, but his mercy and his love is so powerful, so strong, so pure for us that he shows us to 1,000 generations this love, even if the punishment is only on a couple generations. So there's this imbalance of God's love versus God's justice. God's love is what he wants to triumph, but he's not able to because he's a perfect judge. He's a good judge. That's kind of the problem with Allah. Allah can't actually do both because one of them has to conquer the other. You can't have based add banner. There we go. Laws based. Also, I don't know why, but all of my stuff got reset instead of StreamYard. So all my colors, all my backgrounds, literally everything got reset. I have no idea why. So
Oh
it's gonna be a
boy.
little different looking of a stream.
It's a whole new flavor to Defending a Lion with your host, Chris
Yes.
Harvey.
Did you need a
Season
forklift to
2.
raise the 14th translation scroll? Actually, it's one of the biggest books I've ever held. And it's not a scroll, it was a codex. So it was a literal book. And it was like you can't actually see it, but like this wide or so. And it was insane. But it was only the New Testament. So it wasn't even the whole Bible. It was just the New Testament. And it was quite large. Yeah. For a
And
long
I'm
time,
guessing it was all
scholars.
handwritten.
Yes. Yeah, all of them
Wow.
were handwritten. Yeah. And it was different scribes per language too, which was interesting.
Oh, really? So that's even cooler. That
You could tell the
wow.
handwriting difference, yeah. So
Wow.
for a long time, scholars presupposed that polytheism was the initial, most primitive form of widespread religion. Yeah, they did. This is a major problem in hold on, Jack Ray just gifted 50 memberships. Brother,
Wowee.
thank you so much. Too generous. W Jack indeed. Let's see if any of the Muslims that visit often are getting it.
Hey, it'll do him some good.
That'd be really funny if they were. Doesn't look like it. How sad. But thank you so much. That's insane. Anyway, all green shot, baby. And now you can all span Sahih and Daif whenever a Muslim says something. The creator of the popular game show Sham or Sharia now brings you a new game to our tablets with both. Love it. Go ahead and let's go throw in some Sahis in the chat. Anyway, I need better emotes for sure.
Those are pretty solid though. Those
Oh
I
yeah, the
love the
Sahih,
Sahih one.
Hassan and
Yeah.
Daif. Yeah,
It's like what you
it's
see
great.
on like high grade beef when you're at the store and you're like, ooh, that's the good stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have God being a loving God, a merciful God, not a God of wrath, not a God of Jibril emote win. Honestly, for those who just became members, I do have a private Discord for members only. In the perks on my YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube channel, go to membership perks. There's a link to Discord. I have, if you want to submit an emote idea, you can send it there. Anyway. So we have. I also want to do a sexy frog emote, but I have no idea what that would look like. But we have. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy 6 days. I already mentioned that. The Sabbath day is interesting whenever we get to the slaves and the animals and the laws there. This becomes significantly more important, the Sabbath, because it's God is not just giving rest to these people, he's also giving protections of overwork for your animals and your slaves. Because your body literally has to. Egyptian frog lady. I know that's literally all you would do, McCain. Just come and just spam it. Anyway, so you have the Sabbath being a protection against abuse of animals, children, women, because women worked, surprise, surprise, women also worked. They just worked on the house or worked in like spinning yarn or quilts or baking. Like they did
Bread,
lots of
making
things.
bread, which is a lot of work.
Right. They made a ton of bread. They would sell it. Which is why if you were to give out your daughter, you would like pay money for it. So like there's a bride price for a reason. That woman is part
Mm,
of the economy of that household. So to lose a daughter, you're literally losing income. Which is why a bride price existed. And it's why like you needed some cows to get a woman. You got you especially the good ones. Uh dipping in for a moment to say I really appreciate all that you've been doing on this channel. You're great, man. Keep it up. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. So continuing on because we have a lot to go through. Uh, for in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea. This one is important. Um, so the Enuma Elish has like Tiamat and her creation story and a bunch of like also the Egyptians creation story, the Babylonians, which is related to the other one. But you have all of these creation stories in and around the Near East where God, like the gods, spawn into being either from the primordial waters, the primordial semen, um, from thread. Like they have a bunch of different creation stories, but we have specifically God is above. He is not part of creation.
mm,
He was not created. He is not anything. You cannot see him. He is above. He is creator of everything. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That phrase literally means God created the universe for the first action that it happened. So at the first action, God created everything. So God is not a part of anything that we observe, anything that we see. He's above. And this is reinforcing the whole Genesis 1 passage. And then
mm.
we get honor your father and your mother, that your days may be prolonged in the land which Yahweh your God gives you. This one's interesting. This is the first command, the first law that comes with a promise. So we have the first promise in the law is if you honor your father and mother, your days will be prolonged. And that's pretty based. So God is
Mm.
not only encouraging family units like nuclear families to like have good relationships, but he's also blessing the people who take the effort to do this. Because having a working functional family, as I'm sure all of us are aware, is hard. It takes a lot of effort. It kind of sucks at times. And it's intentional. You don't actively want to always be a good son, be a good father, be a good brother. But if you do, if you are intentional in your relationships with your family, God will bless you. We also don't have love your father and mother, but honor your father and mother, which I love the distinction there, where it's sometimes really difficult to love our father and our mother, especially if they were terrible people. I grew up on a military base, and most of the fathers that I knew were like soldiers who had PTSD of some sort, and they
Mm.
oftentimes abused or did really terrible things to their daughters. Uh, and I dated a lot of those women. So I've seen a lot of the consequences of what that relationship can have in the worst possible way you can imagine. And yet God still requires us to honor them, where honoring is just not being intentionally like vindictive and evil towards them.
Mm.
You are
Yeah,
doing
because
things in order.
you can still honor them even if you're at odds with them. There are
Right.
respectful ways to uh, even vehemently disagree with them, but still they are owed something for the sake of them being in the position that they are in your life that God had ordained for them to be in that position. And so I mean, it teaches uh, all sorts of things, because you can carry this over to your boss at work or your older brother even, or it's about respect for uh, people who God has put in a certain office for whatever reason that you may not even understand, but they're still there. And I think it's a good, I mean, we have the perfect example in Jesus, who was the son honoring his father, and it's it, it really does kind of set the course for a person's life if they're able to um, understand respect and office and things like that. It's pretty serious and un, not something I think it's we're kind of in a lull in Western culture at the moment. I think it's it's gone up and down, but I think we're in one of those lulls where it's not particularly emphasized these days.
Yeah. I think it's like the opposite is emphasized, like become your
Yeah.
own god type mentality of it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what you do or say or think. Uh just do. Like just
Mm-hmm.
self-pleasure, like hedonism type
Mm-hmm.
society where I am the only thing that matters. People around me don't matter. I don't have any duties to anyone. I don't have duties to God. God doesn't exist. Like those are
Mm-hmm.
the overwhelming mentality of the younger generation and the Gen X especially. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so your generation and the Gen Alpha, Gen Z, those are like the big push. My generation kind of hated the Gen Z Xers because you guys
Mm-hmm.
were our like older siblings.
Yeah.
So we were rebellious against you and you were rebellious against our parents, the boomers. So yeah. But yeah, it's really quite tragic, quite sad. This is an interesting one. You shall not murder. This word specifically means murder. And you could say, oh well no, that just means kill. Because some like the Catholic Ten Commandments are kind of bad translations. But
Mm-hmm.
they split the 10th command in two. So they have you shall not covet and you shall not covet. And they drop the second command of not producing idols and they
Mm-hmm.
have you shall not kill. Those are all the errors in the Catholic 10 commandments. I've heard many different stories on how they got to the 10 commandments. It might just come from Augustine, but it is what it is. Either way, those are not those should be altered. It's definitely murder, it's not kill. Um, because we have other places in the law that talk about how if you do kill, you are like if you accidentally kill, there's different protections, there's different rules, there's different
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Cities of
There's
refuge.
sanctuary cities, yeah. So you have all of those things in place that makes the kill clause not quite fit here. You shall not commit adultery is pretty standard. You shall not steal is also one I've heard, which is interesting. LXX gang till I die. You heard it here first. I like how this got censored by YouTube. So this is in the raw chat, but looking at YouTube, that got censored. My cowpea is almost gone. Anyway, so I've heard it be said that this word specifically, um, ganav, ganab, uh,
Enough, yeah.
that that means you shall not kidnap, not you shall not steal.
I was going to ask you about that because I know that's popular in Judaism. That's how a lot of them, was it Rashi or one of the big
Mm,
guys interpreted as not kidnapping.
right.
Uh, and at first when I heard that, I thought, well, that's wacky. Because that's very different. And but then when I read through the argumentation for it, I was like, oh, I guess I can kind of see that. Uh, but I think the word just on its own, like ganav, the root is to
Mm,
steal, which obviously, kidnapping
right.
would fall under that. But yeah, so what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, I've gone back and forth on it. So the idea of kidnapping is like you shall not kidnap a person to sell them to slavery, but you can
Mm-hmm.
also say it's you shall not kidnap any property either. So
Oh.
like it might get to because the idea I think the primary idea is slavery. So you shall not kidnap a person to sell them into slavery, but that's also an explicit command later on in Exodus. So
Right.
if it's just a general prohibition against kidnapping in general, that might be a part of property, not specifically people. Now people
Mm-hmm.
would be incorporated into it. It'd be a prohibition against slavery, but it'd also be a
Mm-hmm.
prohibition against like not necessarily slavery, but like capturing people to do like graping or other things to them. All that
Mm-hmm.
stuff would be incorporated into this law. And then if you view people as part of the property of the man of the household, so like the daughter is technically the property of the father, then if
Mm-hmm.
you were to kidnap a woman, she would still be property of the father. It would still be in the category of stealing. I've heard it be explained that way. I tend to lean towards it probably means some form of general property rights, and humans would fall into it, and it's more of a broad category. Kind of like how
Mm-hmm.
do not commit adultery is kind of broad. It's not you do not commit adultery with a man or a woman or like animal or any of that. It's specifically just do not commit adultery. It's not as general as what Jesus says with porneia, which is
Mm-hmm.
just sexual immorality in general. So like if you're a furry, that's part of Jesus's command to not do it because that is
Mm-hmm.
sexually immoral. So it's not technically adultery. It's not like even if you and your wife were both furries, that would still be against Jesus's command, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So you still, sorry, McCain with the whole sexy frog goddess, that would still be prohibited by Jesus to like dress up as her, the cat. Yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah. Anyway, so it seems pretty general, and then you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor is more specific. So this is sometimes I cannot convert. So this one is interesting because it's like most people are like, "Oh, you shall not lie" as part of the Ten Commandments. It's like that doesn't. That's not technically what this is saying. This one is more specific, where it's like more of a court. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I've gone over the years. Is this is a court case language of I wish Christian was here already because he's a lawyer. He's a
Yeah.
liar. Uh, we're going through the law and he's a lawyer. That's great. I can put that together in my head. Uh, but this is more of the legal case of you shall not bear false witness in a court system because God's justice is done on earth by judges. And he puts such an emphasis on judges and on justice that it's kind of amazing. It's kind of unique to the Torah. Okay, out of Calpe. What do you think about this?
I think because as a kid growing up, obviously you're told just not to lie, and
Right,
then studying further, you realize that does sound very much like legal talk,
right.
and so obviously I think lying, going along with the spirit of the commandment, fits in there, uh, but I do think the commandment it does seem worded to be more specifically in a legal setting.
Mm,
But I do think lying, kind of how Jesus said, to hate your brother in your heart is to commit murder. Feel like lying uh kind of falls under the umbrella of bearing false witness. Because I mean that is kind of the point when you lie, that is kind of what you're doing. So
mm.
I think it does fall under that umbrella.
Is there? I can't remember off the top of my head right now. I don't. Is there a single like blanket statement prohibition of do not lie or you shall not lie?
No, I don't think so, but the emphasis on the negative of like deceiver and
Mm,
things like that makes me think, proving a positive with a negative, basically. The deception and deceiver
It's always bad.
uh, is always bad, and so
Right.
in order, if you do lie, you are intentionally deceiving somebody.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and Satan is called the father of liars. And well, isn't that one of the lists of Paul about the people that will not inherit the kingdom of God?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it
Lying is put in the
it
same
does.
category as murder.
Yeah, so I think it kind of fits nicely in under that umbrella.
I would be interested in seeing what the LXX says. Hold on.
Mhm.
So, oh no, it's quite wordy. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. So it's still pretty much the same thing, although it does use persuades. This word here literally means lying.
Okay.
So you shall not give this little bit here is you shall not give false witness to your neighbor and fall or like deceptively lie or lie as a witness, I think is what that's supposed to be.
Okay.
So I think it's still mostly retaining the legal code. Again, I wish Christian was here because he's fluent in Greek.
Hmm.
And he's a lawyer. We'll come back to it whenever whenever he hops on. I'm like, oh yeah, this was his thing. Anyway. So to do, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male slave or female slave, or his ox or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor, and all that people. Oh wait, let's finish this one. So all of these commands are active commands. There are two that are heart commands. So honor your father and mother, and do not covet. This is Yahweh uh, issuing decrees on our hearts. So it's not just our actions that he cares about, it's our thoughts and it's our hearts that he's also trying to get us to think about, to get us to care about, which is pretty revolutionary. If you look at the other legal codes, they don't really care. They're just like all about property rights. That's all like the Code of
Hmm.
Hammurabi is literally just property rights. All of its like morality is based around what people can and can't do. Whenever we look at some comparisons, it's quite shocking what they allow in that system versus what the Torah allows. And people are like atheists and skeptics are always like, "Oh, well, the Torah is just a copy of the Code of Hammurabi,
Uh,
obviously." And it's like, have you read it? Have you compared them?
right.
Yeah, we'll
That
get to
one
that.
always that even came up, I think, in a conversation I was just having with my wife recently, where I was telling her like you should expect like people are gonna bring up the Code of Hammurabi. It's one of those arguments where you hear it and you're like, oh man, you're really gonna bring you know that like you're dealing with somebody who might not even know what they're talking about, but it
Never
sounds
read it.
very
Yeah.
official, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that might
Yeah.
have even been in my maybe in one of my school textbooks when I was going to school, where they compared the two. Said that they were similar, drew from or that the Bible drew from it, and that so it's an old, that's an old one. Hopefully it goes
Hmm.
away soon because it's very silly.
Yeah, it's so dumb, man. Uh, but we have this notion of God cares about our hearts. He cares about the meaning of the law, not just the letter of the law. So whenever Christians point out that Jesus is trying to get back to the heart of the law and how rabbinic Jews and the Pharisees focused too much on the letter of the law and they entirely missed the heart of the law, this is kind of what we're talking about. The Old
Hmm.
Testament over and over and over again is affirming how we are to treat one another as humans. The greatest miracle of the Torah is mankind, male and female, is made in the image of God. The Imago Dei is the single greatest miracle of the Bible. Um, it is what ended slavery. It is what provided female rights. It's provided foreigner rights, racial, like all of the great moral leaps in history we have done has been based on that single sentence. And much of the law is also based on that idea. Because God is not just trying to get us to live morally, he's trying to get us to live humanely. To where we see like one of my favorite ones that sometimes like makes me emotional is you shall not boil or you shall not cook a goat in its mother's milk. That seems so weird. And the rabbis took that and ran with it way off the reservation. They fell off a
Mm.
cliff and got lost on the way down. Like, the purpose of that law is to show that animals have dignity, that it's cruel to use what is meant to keep that animal alive, its mother's milk, and cook it with it. That's cruelty. That is inhumane. You are better than that. Do not use the life substance of an animal to cook it. That's
Well, and you could
super dark.
you could pair that with the when you're getting eggs from a nest to chase the mother bird away
Right. So you're not
before you get the
seeing her
eggs.
children. Right.
Mm.
It's to not cause the animals suffering, emotional suffering. Like the Bible cares so much about life and not just being humane with each other, but being humane to nature, which we are supposed to be the caretakers of, even though we abuse it. And I'm not
Mm.
like Green Party activist. I really dislike those people. But that is the original purpose of mankind, is to tend to the garden, to care
Mm.
for animals, to care for plants, to care for the earth. And whenever we are far away from that, whenever we have abandoned the humanity within us to everything around us, we become no better than the animals. In fact, we oftentimes we become worse than the animals.
Mm.
And the law over and over and over again is giving these protections to all of life. It's not just the men, it's not just the powerful, it's not just the rich. It is all of living things, everything that draws breath is protected under the Torah law in ways that was not done before the Torah existed. Hence why the Torah is based.
Yeah.
As
Yep.
McCain said earlier, based. Oh, yeah, I love it. So let's continue. Do you have anything to say about that before we move on?
No, no,
Or on
this
the Ten
is
Commandments,
that's
because we kind of flew through
uh nope, I'm good with what we've got so
it.
far.
Yep. So, your earth is good. Earth is good. uh, all the people perceived the thunder and lightning flashes and the sound of the trumpet and the mountain smoking, and the people perceived it, and they shook and stood at a distance. I like how before, like the part I skipped in 19, Yahweh is like, "Hey, you cannot like, don't let them come near it. Like, they will die
Mm.
if they try to come up here. Don't even try," because he's
Mm.
worried about the people trying to approach him. And then by the end of him speaking to them, they are all terrified
Yeah, they
of
all say,
God.
Moses, you go. Like we don't want you go talk to him and you can tell us what he says, but we don't want this anymore.
Oh, that's so funny. Then they said, "Speak to us yourself, and we will listen, but not let God speak to us, lest we die." Just utterly terrified of God. And if you imagine it, I think I've heard reports that Har Kokom, the likely mountain from Mount Sinai, has char marks on it, like it has burn
Yeah,
layer. I've heard
there
that.
was a
I've not
couple
investigated that,
cool
but
documentaries. Now this was back before when it wasn't as easy to fact check things. There was this really
right.
cool documentary that I saw. Must have been like 20 years ago. And I mean, there was all these cool things that, and I think it was on that mountain that they were looking at. And they did say that, and they showed all these things. But, for me, whether we know where Mount Sinai was or not, it's not that big of a deal. It would be cool if it's true, but it's not something, that I feel comfortable um,
Like
endorsing
teaching
until
on.
I've,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
But as far as I mean, and again, it's 20 years outdated, so who knows if it's been debunked by now. But at the time, it was very compelling and very interesting.
Right. That's so short because my campus up so high. No, I didn't hope I know. Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of interesting things on Har Kokom. that make it a good candidate for being Mount Sinai. You also
Mm,
have inscriptions written in Proto-Sinaitic, which would have
mm,
been the original language of the Hebrews, or at least the original written system of the Hebrews. I made a video on that if you want to go check it out. And we have 12 stone pillars at the base of the mountain. We have
mm,
like carvings of menorahs and the burning bush and the Star of David and Yahweh's name, all engraved on the base of this mountain in the surrounding areas in the caves. So pretty decent evidence for that mountain. It's also in the
mm,
the right path from the Red Sea to Israel. It has a lot of good stuff going for it. But I don't think it's like a open shut case of yeah, that's for sure Mount Sinai.
mm.
But if it is, the mountain was not picked up and held over the Jewish people, as the Quran and the Midrash says. So anyway, hilarious that the first thing that they do after turning away from the mountain is make an idol. They were not that scared. Oh, yeah. But if you guys, anyone who's interested, you can go watch I made a video series on Hebrew, which I still stand by, even though I've learned a lot more about Hebrew since then. Um, The first video in that series is on the Egyptian hieroglyphic form of Hebrew, which was the original script. It's Proto-Sinaitic. That script is loosely based on the Egyptian hieroglyphs, and they're being used as the first letter of the name of that word is the alphabet itself. So Aleph Ox becomes the A, Bet becomes the B, and that's house. So it's the symbol of a house. So you have the head of an ox, you have the symbol of a house. You have Gimel, which is I think it's a camel too, or that might just be
It's
combining that
or
in my
it's
head.
like shaped like a leg, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's literally a leg. So it's like a camel's
Mm,
foot, I think was the idea. Like it represents a Gimel, camel. And then Dalet door, you have literally a door, and so on and so on. So all of the letters of Hebrew have a symbol, an object image that represents what that thing is. And the letter itself comes from the first letter of the word, and then that system is used all over. And that's actually what modern rabbis, the Hasidics and the Chabad, they like the mystics of the rabbinic Judaism, the mystical side of it, for the souled interpretation of the letters. They actually combine the meanings of the proto-Sinaitic lettering. So like an aleph represents God because it's like strong in a bull, and the limit represents a shepherd or like the shepherd's crook or a leader. So the strong leader is God. It's kind of the idea for
mm,
L. Um, Interestingly, if you do that, you actually get Jesus on the cross for better sheets,
mm.
which is pretty
Did you
neat.
ever, a long time ago, again, this is a long time ago because, hey, I'm old now, but Jeff Benner, I think his name was, the Ancient Hebrew Resource Center. Did you ever look into any of that stuff?
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay.
have.
There's a lot of interesting stuff and a lot of stuff I'm like, oh, maybe, or
Right.
maybe not, but lots of interesting stuff there. And that was a major resource for this type of stuff a long time ago, back
Yeah.
when I was a young man.
Actually, I have. I can pull that up real quick. I have his translation of the
Oh,
Torah.
what does he call those? The mechanical translations?
Yeah, I have it in the Proto-Sinaitic.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
actually quite see it,
That would kill your
but
wrist trying to write out that,
yeah.
especially carving it into a rock. Can you imagine?
Hello, Christian. I've been waiting for you
Hello.
because I have a live stream elsewhere to attend to for the next 20 seconds, and I didn't want to leave Chris on his own. So, hopefully, you can co-host
I'm a tag
while I
team.
go. Now,
yeah,
this is where my amateurism is showing. Chris, how do I mute myself? Can I do that?
I can mute
Or can
you,
you mute
but
me?
Dump
Mm.
salt
I can
water
mute
on the
you.
computer.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'll be right
Yeah,
back, fellas.
I'll mute you. You're gone. Finish, boy.
You'll finish.
Anyway, Finish, boy.
Weak.
All right, I have a Greek question for you and a legal question for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not me hiding. That's me trying to clean the
You're
camera. I'm
finished,
using
boy.
this. I use it to oil the fretboard on my guitars, so it's probably a terrible idea to use it for a camera. I'm probably putting guitar honey all over the lens.
As one does.
Yeah.
All right. What does this mean in the Greek?
Pseudomartreses would be like lying, giving false testimony. Kata to plesion, according to the ploion is a boat. Plesion, according to the what is that? You should know.
Neighbor?
Oh, probably Sue. Yeah, your. So that Sue is the possessive
Your neighbor.
second person. Yeah.
Right.
Marturiam Sude. Okay, so
day at the end, I think, is lying, right?
yeah. So that's where we get our word pseudo, like a pseudo,
right, like a fake version or
pseudographer,
something.
or yeah,
right,
a pseudo account.
Yeah, pseudoscience.
Uh-huh.
Okay, does this still have the same? Because in the Hebrew, it's a bit more explicit. Of this is literally just like
16 low.
7. Yeah, 16. Sorry.
Yeah, lo ta'ane bireacha aid shakir. Okay, don't speak in neighbor yours until, and then I don't know shakir. I don't know that word.
Lie.
Oh, okay. Don't speak into your neighbor until a lie. Is the really bad Christian Gadfly translation. With that aid there before it kind of has a feeling of up until.
Right. Well, this is witness. This is ed.
Right. Oh, okay.
So it's actually one of the edim is the witnesses. So you get your shahada, your sahadutha, from the Aramaic usage of it. So Aramaic, it's sahadutha, which is where shahada probably is coming from for like the Talmudic dilemma stuff. And then id or however you want to pronounce it, that just literally means witness.
Let me pause you real quick. Is a lot of the Talmud written in Aramaic?
Yeah.
Okay. Is any of it written in Syriac?
No.
Okay. Because I've started studying Syriac. And I was playing with the alphabet for it over the weekend. And oh my gosh, there's so much that looks like it's stolen from the Syriac for like names, these sorts of things in the Quran, things that are kind of loan wordy.
Right.
It's like
it's a lot.
Yeah, Christian, like on this
I
page,
recognize that
this book, Basics of Classical
Syriac. Is that by Miles Van Pelt?
No, this is by Stephen Hallam.
Oh, okay. Because what it got me when I learned Hebrew was Basics of Biblical Hebrew, and it looked just like that.
Oh, okay.
And the author gave me a free book, so I thought, wow, that's a...
It might be a series they did together. So I have there is this one series I have books from that NIV did of commentaries on books of the Bible, and it's different authors, but all the aesthetics are the same for the different books.
Okay.
So it might be something like that. But yeah, looking at this name page, I was practicing reading these names, and it was like, man, it was crazy how many. Did you just see guitar oil and no words? I was telling Steven, I was telling Chris earlier that I had to wipe my camera lens. The first thing I grabbed was the rag that I used to clean my guitars with this oil. I was like, okay, that was probably a terrible idea. Is that similar? This is yeah, I don't know. This is just called guitar honey. I asked for lemon oil when I was at the store, but the guy was like, "Oh, you should try this. It's good." I'm like,
okay. I just use this because my dad used it, so it's got a familiar smell.
I was trying to buy some fried chicken today, and I couldn't get my wallet out of my bag, and I flipped it out, and the guitar picks went everywhere. And there's this big black guy behind me is like, "You play guitar, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." But I was like picking up pics everywhere. They were like off. There was some on the self scanner and all over the floor.
Yeah,
It was so embarrassing. They went everywhere.
I've got like probably 12 in my pocket right now.
Yeah.
It drives my wife crazy with stuff with clothes in the dryer because I never
Oh gosh, you
remember
forget
to
to
take
get
them
them
out.
out. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I only did guitar for a little bit, then I switched to drums and piano because that's less tedious with the guitar picks. Like after the 10th time of getting, because I had an acoustic guitar, after the 10th time of getting the pick stuck into the
Gosh,
guitar,
Oh,
it's
like having to shake
frustrating.
it.
Do you
Oh
have
man,
kids?
yeah,
Oh, they love throwing the picks in there. Drives me nuts.
I can imagine. How did you decide to become a lawyer? Did you know you were going to read so much before you did?
Gosh, how do I do this in a short? My dad's a lawyer. There's a short answer. This is a long journey. Every step of my life's been a huge journey. And if we ever meet in person, I'll buy you a beer and tell you all about it.
Based. Anyway, back to the original question. Also, I have a cow mug, pretty based.
I'm
So
not gonna say what those eyes look like.
just like staring into your soul. The Syriac influences in the Quran are pretty heavy, but Syriac and Aramaic are sister languages. Like they're both Semitic languages, so they're not that different. Me and Mary, I don't know if you noticed in the Discord today, Mary Arb and I, we may have found where the Ezra stuff is coming from, and
Ooh.
it's the same word. Hillel is called a disciple, and that word is Talmid,
Mhm.
which is where Talmud comes from. It means to become a disciple of the Torah. But Talmid and Talmida is like, so in Aramaic and Hebrew, it's Talmid. In Syriac, it's Talmida. It's the same word. In Arabic, it doesn't exist. There is no cognate in Arabic, but it still uses that word in the Tafsir and I think in the Quran. So I think he's getting Ezra being like the son of God because Christians are using it in Syriac and Jews are using it in Aramaic. And he doesn't realize that because the Christian usage is different from the Jewish usage, that there's a difference. He might be thinking Ezra's
Oh, the
God.
connection between the disciples being the Talmidim, and then is that what you're saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so since Ezra was a teacher and
Mm-hmm. And Hillel was a Talmudim.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of makes sense. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
more sense than him just off the bat. Because I mean, I know Jews do revere Ezra as being a great Torah scholar,
Right.
but
Right.
never, so that actually that's pretty interesting.
How
That's
do I
worth
share
further
my screen? I
investigation.
want to share my screen for a second.
Click presenter and then click share.
Where's presenter?
It should be in the middle of the StreamYard.
Oh, present and then
Yeah, present or invite.
share screen. I want to show you. Do you see my screen yet?
No.
Oh no. Okay. Oh, it's making me pick which one. Quran. Share. This verse is worth a close reading. It says, and we surely note that they say no one is
Can
teaching
you make it a
him.
little bit bigger?
Yeah, do I how would I do
Just
that?
control and mouse zoom. Like control and zoom or
Okay.
scroll up. Okay.
And we surely know that they say no one is teaching him except a human, but the man they refer to speaks a foreign tongue, whereas this Quran is in eloquent Arabic. Now, this I think is so. Well, first of all, it's very stupid, but secondly, it's very interesting because it's like, well, he's just getting his stuff from this other guy. Muhammad doesn't even deny that this other person exists. The man they refer to, well, so obviously he's real. He's a real guy out there that's talking to him. But this is his defense. He says, the man they refer to speaks a foreign tongue, whereas the Quran is an eloquent Arabic. So the argument is because whoever it is he's talking to speaks another language and Muhammad's writing in Arabic, it's logically impossible for him to just be understanding some other language and then writing it into a different, like I grew up in a bilingual household. I lived in Chile for a year when I was a kid, and my family, they've always spoken Spanish. And so I see something like this, and it just baffles me how stupid it is. Like as I was reading, I was like, wait a minute. Man, that's dumb. We haven't, like, as a community, as Christians, we haven't sat around and thought about how dumb this verse is and how telling it is. And the fact that it's just admitting that this guy exists and that he's talking to him. And then his only defense that he's not getting things from this guy is that he's writing in a different language than the guy's speaking. Well, if you're bilingual, it's like, oh my God, it's so stupid.
So, I have thought about this. I've talked about this a number of times. I haven't made a video on it. I need to make a video on it. Oh, it's entirely left. He's a lawyer. I'll wait for him to hop back on. But yeah, that there he comes.
I was trying to stop the screen share and I left the studio.
Anyway, so it's actually worse than that because it's not just like English to Spanish, which are like somewhat related but mostly different. It is Arabic to Syriac/Aramaic, which are almost direct the same.
Oh yeah,
like, there's so many cognates between the languages.
Between the two,
yeah,
like
it's insane.
Like this.
Yeah, it's more like if you, as a Spanish speaker, were to talk to someone who speaks Portuguese. That's the difference between Aramaic and Arabic, or Syriac and Arabic. The theological terms itself in the Quran are copied directly from the Talmud and from the Syriac Christians. So like, there's a lot of words that are not like direct cognates that are still used, like Shekinah.
Yeah,
that's an Arabic term.
Furqan also.
Furqan. Those are not Arabic terms, but they're in the Quran because he's just copying it. And there's like 300 to 800 words in the Quran that are not Arabic, that are one-offs that no one knows, that are just directly taken from another language.
Well, I mean, including so many of the names of the people mentioned in it that have like either come with Yahweh or El or Eli in them. And that is one of the weirder things about how there's two ways to say. I mean, well, there's one way to say Jesus in Arabic, which would be what, like Yeshua, something like that, kind of pretty much Yeshua. But they went to Isa, which is actually Hebrew. Isa is the Hebrew name for Jacob's brother. Right. And so was it another blunder, or was it intentional, or it's very strange.
So I've heard two different theories from it. One is that it's coming from the Syriac, and another one that it is coming from a polemic of the Talmud, because the Talmud calls Christians Edomites, which are the sons of Edom, which is Esau. So if we as Christians are the sons of Esau, who does that make Esau?
Interesting.
So, yeah, that is a legitimate thing. Christians are called Edomites, and Rome is called Edom. So because Christians are associated with Rome by the time of the Quran, you have maybe Edomites being, Esau and the Esauites, if you want to call it that way. But you also have in a Syriac, I think it's like Yessia. Okay. It's much closer. It's like one vowel off of Isa. So if you want to go through a Syriac deconstruction into Arabic, you can do that. I'm fine using Edomite. I think either is fine. I know Mary Arb, because I've talked a lot about this with her. She takes the Syriac view, and I think Joseph Witzman also does. He's a professor in Israel who made his dissertation on the Syriac influences on the Quran, which, Christian, I think you would love to read that dissertation. It is 200 pages, and it's going through every single Syriac connection inside of the Quran.
Oh, you'll have to send that to me. I have
it.
Yeah, just look at it.
In the Talmud chat.
It's like a yod, and then a shin, and a hey, and then I think the ayin, their version of an ayin. So it'd be like with the Western vowel, something like Yeshua, something like that.
Yeshua. Yeshua is how you say Jesus in Arabic in the
That's
Christian
with
communities.
me having studied Syriac for 2 hours, so do not take my word. Oh, he's an expert. It's like, no, I studied it over the weekend. But I was going to say there is variability within. There's different Syriac dialects, like Eastern and Western, and so the vowels could have been different in different places.
Yeah.
Whoever this man was that he was speaking to, Bahira, whoever it was.
You said you got raptured whenever you disconnected her.
Oh yeah, that was the gin.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's hop back into the Bible, better than the Quran, in all ways. So the people saw God, was like, hey, oh no, we gonna die, let's not. And then Moses said to the people, do not be afraid, for God has come in order to test you, in order that you may fear of him, that the fear of him may be with you, so that you may not sin. So the people stood at a distance, but Moses came near the dense gloom where God was. So God is at physically a location. For those who are like, oh, God can't come physically into the universe, he is here. Then Yahweh said to Moses, thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, you yourselves have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. You shall not make other gods besides me, gods of silver or gods of gold. You shall not make for yourself. This gets into the Isaiah theory, where every chapter of Isaiah corresponds to the book of the same number. So in chapter 2, it has this exact phrase of gods of silver and gold, which is pretty neat. There's way more impressive ones, like Matthew 3:3 is the exact same sentence as Isaiah 43, and Matthew is the 40th book of the Bible. So you all over Isaiah, you get that type of connection where the exact number and chapter are overlapping, and it doesn't just do it in the Christian ordering; it also does it in the Jewish ordering. Because the Christian Jewish ordering splits after judges. So it does it for both. So like God is so cool, he had a flex on us. So that's a pretty cool study you can do. It takes up a couple weeks of your life. It's pretty based. You shall not, you shall, and also they immediately break this. Like this is the first command he gives after them being terrified and telling them to leave. And that's the first sin that they do. Immediately. Wild. You shall make an altar of earth for me, and you shall sacrifice on your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen in every place where I cause my name to be remembered. I will come to you and bless you. And if you make an altar of stone for me, you shall not build it of cut stones, for if you wield your tool on it, you will profane it. And you shall not go up by steps to my altar, so that your nakedness will not be exposed on it. This one's interesting. Because they would wear dresses, or at least gowns, they didn't have necessarily undergarments. If you looked under someone's dress, you saw everything. So he's prohibiting having steps to an altar in order to not, like in this holy moment, as you're going up to sacrifice it, we're not going to have anyone be tempted to look at each other and like their bunghole or anything. So we have God working towards modesty, working towards thinking about your actions and the consequences of them. So God cares about ooh la la is wild, man.
Well, it's like when you're teaching a lesson and you say something and you don't mean for it to be a double entendre, but it is, and every junior hire in the room catches on, and then you're totally derailed. It'd be like if you had stairs on your altar, you're just trying to get some service done, and the wind blows, and everyone's just laughing because, yeah.
Ironically, that was actually a problem in the early Muslim community because they were not used to it yet, and they all had much shorter gowns. So whenever they would do full prostration, you could actually see each other's buttholes. And there's a bunch of hadith on that. That's like, you
imagine that, and you're in a room. There's no modern hygiene, and everybody's been eating hummus, and it's just like a room of buttholes. Oh my gosh, it'd be so gross.
The smell, like whenever, because like the smell gets trapped, and then whenever you spread a little bit, just the methane
covered in camel pee, yeah.
Man. Anyway, y'all's were a bigger problem.
I've been telling people on Act 17 I want to create a D&D campaign based on like Islamic folklore and everything, where like you have to be careful
Yeah.
at night for the Al Zoot and stuff, and like if you stick a toothbrush up your butt, then you'll get pregnant and give birth to like a ratfish, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it has to happen at some point.
That would be such a good campaign. It'd be hysterical.
Yeah. Of course, there's a hadith. Yeah, that's my favorite. So if you hadn't seen my Sham or Sharia stream that got taken down on YouTube, it was just like 3 hours of just going through ridiculously stupid hadith. And one of them is like a dude having intercourse with a donkey and then going to prayer afterward and like being exposed and all that stuff. And then the donkey farts and it tells him, and he's like proud of it because he has a male member that's large enough to make a donkey fart afterward.
Whoa.
So he's like, why shouldn't I praise Allah that He's given me
this
such...
stream canceled too?
Wait,
yeah, smooth there. Oh, I just saw
yeah, that's in.
Well, that's probably poor choice of words. I apologize, but that's written in the hadith.
I'm glad that was preserved in history. There's this quote from a Byzantine princess who wrote this history called the Alexiad, and it's this beautiful quote about how memories and the things around us, they get swept away in the streams of time, and how history is a way to like. So it's just like to contrast that quote with that hadith. It's like that's what we preserved from the Sahaba. That's what you thought was important enough to. That's just expensive. Paper was expensive back then. And you go and you spend all that money, like $10,000. I really want the rest of the world to remember that this guy porked a donkey. That's what I want the world to remember.
Hold on.
Oh my goodness.
Peace and blessings be upon all of them, man.
Hold on. Let me just find it real quick.
And is that considered
hadith? Are you talking about that hadith?
Yeah,
you already told me. I don't need to hear it again, man.
Is it considered sahih, or is it or Hassan?
I have no idea.
I don't want to know. I prefer, You know what's so funny is it's so arbitrary anyway. What's da'if and sahih? Like, just because it has a good isnad doesn't mean anything. You can just make up an isnad, and so it's probably historically sahih because it's so gross. Why would someone make that up?
The principle of embarrassment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's insane. No, there's another one that is this one is sahih. You want to see one that's sahih? Hold on.
On that D&D campaign, I'm still on that. You need to be able to get like flying donkeys as like an advanced steed at some point.
Flying donkeys.
Wouldn't that be great?
It's nuts. All right, so this is from Sahih Bukhari.
Okay.
So from Utay ibn Dharma, who said, I saw a man with Ubay who was boasting of greatness, going back to the age of ignorance, and Ubay had made him bite. Without mincing words with him, his companions looked at him and said, it seems you all disapprove of that. He said, I will never respect anyone in this regard. Indeed, I heard the prophet say, whoever boasts of greatness going back to the age of ignorance, tell him to go bite, without mincing words. Well, this exact phrase of go bite means specifically that it is his father's thing. So in other words, tell him to go bite off your father's member.
That might not be literal, though. That might be like a go F yourself. It's just an idiom of the day. You know what I mean?
It could be, yes. It probably is. But it's also a profanity. It's like it's profanity. So he's not using the like biological taxonomical term for it. He's specifically using a slur for
that's the worst thing you can bring up about Muhammad is that he said a bad word, Chris.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not.
Oh, he said a bad word. He's like raping people, torturing a guy to death. Chris is over here. Yeah, language. Bad word.
Hey, it's a good point though. Chris's filter is good because that should stand out. But yeah, definitely not amongst the worst of.
Hey,
the
I want to point out something nerdy. Christopher has a Greek name, but it's written in Hebrew. So
Yeah.
Yes.
that name that's written out Christopher in Hebrew, but it means anointed one in Greek.
Right.
You should put
That's
it
something.
Mashiach. So that everyone might think you're claiming to be the Messiah, but that is what your name means.
Well, I've got a bit of the Mahdi look going on
Uh,
here with my my
the
winter hat
monkey.
on.
With that beanie, yeah.
Yeah,
Ah,
I
Well,
am.
he just
man.
disappeared, didn't he? I miss hearing from
He
him.
did.
He needs
Yeah,
to
I
give me
know.
an
He was
update so I can make part two. He needs to come out and say
He's
something weird.
he's still live
at fir
streaming,
at first I
and he
thought it
actually
was Jared
invites people
Leto
on.
like in a movie role. I thought it was like Jared Leto's next character or something, and then I was like, oh no, this is a guy. And then I thought, okay, it's a drama, and then I was like, oh no, this guy's he's it doesn't seem like he's serious. I mean, it's so produced, even like when they talk to the people within the room and everything, it's some kind of weird thing. Do you guys think it's actually like I mean, I guess it could be, creepy cult people do creepy cult things, and with technology, they can do them fancier now, I guess. But
I don't know
do
if
you
he's
think it's?
serious or not, but I'll say this: I'm serious. Mahdi, if you're watching this and you're inviting people to come on, I will come on your show or your service or whatever you want to call it. I will come on there with you.
His DMs are open if you go to his TikTok.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Watch me end up
it's no
joining
issues.
that cult. Like I love the attention too much.
You
I
show back up
can't
with
say
the
no.
hat and the.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, no, some of the guys I stream with, Chase and Andrew, Andrew reached out to him to interview him on it. So he's like, yeah, sure,
I
why
won't
not?
even attack him. I'll just I'll go hang out.
Oh, that's great.
Is he Iranian, or is he in Iran? Or where's
He's
he
half
where's he based out of?
American. I think he's in America.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because he's like, oh, my mother is part of the lineage of the Jews, my father, the lineage of the
Oh,
Muslims,
that's
and I'm
right.
part of the
Yeah.
lineage of the Christians. So he's like
Mm.
tying all the religions together to
Kind of
be
like how
one.
Muhammad tried to do already.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
it's
a
kind of
he's
that
like a
that false
Timu
prophet
Antichrist.
MO. Yeah.
Dejals and donkeys campaign.
Oh yeah, man, it is so good. You go to the market, you buy one of them eggs, and a devil hatches out of it and
Anti-
slaps his knees together, and you have to stop him, or it makes
My
more.
brother now, as like an inside joke, he watched the last stream. Oh man, inside
It's
joke. I gotta choose better wording. But so now we'll be at work. Where I work with him, and he'll just come
oh,
back and he'll stand at me and like look me in the eyes and just start like knocking his thighs together and then walk away. Uh,
oh, yeah, it's so funny, man. Oh, I love it.
It's like that
Anyway.
50s dancing or whatever, like the do the twist or whatever.
yeah.
Deviled eggs. Oh, deviled eggs is wild. Oh, that'd be such a good short.
Yeah.
This D&G campaign needs to happen.
You think you're buying food and you have to roll for initiative whenever the demons spawn out of it.
The first step, we need to set up a bestiary of all the weird creatures from this stuff. Because
The
that would give
Shamir,
us ideas of like what problems
the
could happen
Hoopoe.
and stuff. We got
The
Jin and
Hoopoe is pretty good.
Shaitan and yeah.
Yeah, I mean you have
Fish
the
trap.
giant whale that the Earth
Oh
is
yeah,
sitting
You
on.
guys,
Al
you
Ambar.
guys are younger than me, I know, but I don't know by how much. But back when I first started studying Islam, there was a really heavy like internet campaign going on, and they were these like 30-second videos. And so they'd have like this family at a dinner table, and in Islam, your left hand, I guess, is your wiping hand, so you're not to eat with it.
That's pretty cool.
And there's these people, and it's like they're all having a good time. It looks like an American Thanksgiving, and a guy reaches in and he like takes food with his left hand, and then they have like the Darth Maul looking shaitan at the table, and he's like, I wonder if those videos are still up, because I haven't seen them since. That was like 20 years ago when I saw those.
If those
But
are
they were
still up, they're going in one of my videos. That's good.
look for it. I don't even know what you'd put, but they were teaching.
I
They were
will
like
hunt them
teaching.
down.
And it was like David Wood's Boom Boom Room where he has like the Satan meets Muhammad. They kind of looked like that Satan, and then it would like at the end it would go to a black screen, and in Arabic and English it would quote whatever hadith would say, not to do this or that. And there was a lot of them. There's one where there's like this Muslim guy like casually enjoying a cigarette, and then all of a sudden like here comes big shaitan, and he but that would be funny. I haven't even thought of those videos till just now when you were talking about deviled eggs. But it would be neat to see if they still exist, because that was a big thing, and it was like, if it was true what they were doing, I could see some sort of, well, I don't know. They're pretty weird, but they were very short, and I'll make a note to try to find some of those. I'll send them to you guys if I find them. But they were it was funny though, because the Shaitan he looks like Darth Maul, and he's just like sitting there at the
Uh,
table.
we need to do more
Very
with Far
strange.
4, the little
Oh,
Mickey Mouse terrorist.
yeah, that stuff. Where he gets kidnapped by Mossad, and oh my gosh. So many people though don't understand how, like, it's funny to us, but it's not really funny.
No.
Because I mean this is like their equivalent of Barney. And imagine if Barney's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, hello, boys and
A
girls.
terrorist.
Today we're gonna cut the throats of the Yahoo." Oh, like
So many
it'd be
video ideas just being dumped on me. I'm already ordering so much weird stuff for my stupid channel on Amazon. I'm always scared my wife's going to see this stuff. I'm not going to say what it's for, but I ordered a fish head mask, and I was like, man, I hope she doesn't ask me about this because it's just so weird. There's so much weird crap that I have because of video.
Oh, man. Is that for the misback?
I've always wanted to get. So there's a Big Bird from the show, the kid show, the big yellow bird. There's a Mexican version of him that's green. There's a green Big Bird. I want to get one of the green Big Bird suits, and it could be one of the green birds of Jannah. Because if you die as a martyr, you become a green bird in Islam. Yeah. Oh my God. If you have one of them in the Boom Boom Room, or just like, there's so much you could do, but it probably costs $300. How am I going to tell my wife I'm going to pay $300 for a green Mexican Big Bird suit?
That's getting waterboarded by Bob Iger and Mohammed until he says his shahada. Oh, that's a pretty good video too. I wish I had time and energy to do skits. It makes so much funny stuff. Anyway.
All right. It's good time for a palate cleanser. Let's go back to like good stuff.
Back to God's word.
Bible.
Everyone stand up for the reading of God's word.
Yes, amen. Okay, now these are the judgments which you are set before them. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he shall serve for 6 years, but on the 7th he shall go out as a free man without payment. If he comes alone, he shall go out alone. If he is the husband of a wife, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall belong to her master, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave plainly says, I love my master and my wife and my children, I will not go out as a free man, then his master shall bring him to God, and he shall bring him to the door or the doorpost. Then his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, and he shall serve him permanently. Now, this type of piercing would be pretty hard to do on someone forcefully. And if they did do it forcefully, if that slave then like escaped and like had like bondage, because you'd have to like really tie someone down for this type of piercing, that would be pretty obvious. And a judge would be like, oh yeah, you obviously try like force this person into indentured servitude forever. That person probably would be put to death. So you have this interesting prohibition of Hebrew slaves are only allowed to be slaves for 6 years. And the reason why they're slaves most of the time is that they had debt that they couldn't pay off. This is God making a system of payment where doesn't matter how much debt you get, you go free on the 6th or the 7th year. You have to work 6 years. So let's say you were indebted by like $10 million and you worked as a slave. After 6 years, that $10 million debt is gone. Now, granted, the debts wouldn't get that high back then, but regardless of your debt, you would just go free. This is, again, God showing, hey, humans have worth, they have dignity. Slavery, bad. There's a reason why the Bibles in America that were given to slaves were altered and changed for all of the negative stuff against slavery to be removed.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes. If the Bible was pro-slavery, why would they have to alter it to give it to slaves?
Here's something
well,
else.
Then you have the Jubilee year too when it comes to debt and things like that.
Which is based. I wish we had that.
Two things I want to say about this is there's a recurring theme of wanting rest whenever the kingdom finally comes, and there's all these sevens that point to it. So years of Jubilee or Sabbath rest, and Noah is named Nuach. They were hoping for rest.
Comfort, yeah.
And so that comes to its fulfillment with the coming of the kingdom of God. And Islam knows nothing about that, never mentions it. And it's like this major theme in the Bible and in Christianity. The other thing is comparing this to like modern law, there's kinds of debt you can get in and you're just so trapped, like student debt. And you can declare bankruptcy and you're still stuck in it. And it's like with this, you could work for 6 years and then you're free after that, no matter how bad the debt is. Like, and that lets you see, well, think about, first of all, emotionally, how just totally liberating that would be till you finally get to your 7th year and that's done. And then take that emotion and apply it to Christ. He's bringing the Sabbath rest to us.
Yeah, there's also the idea that depending on how you do the calendars, the cross, the crucifixion happened during a year of Jubilee. So his death was the Jubilee of Jubilees. It was releasing us from the debt of slavery and sin forever, for all time. It's the completion of the Jubilees, which is pretty based.
Fitting. Mm-hmm.
And you don't get that at all in Islam or any of the other systems. Like, there is no rest, there's no salvation, there's no freedom, and Christ offers it. Really, you don't even have to work for it because we can't earn it.
There's a reading that differs from the Masoretic text, and I'm not sure if it's here, but you know where it says further down, pierce the ear. There's a particular text in the Septuagint that says prepare the body. And then the New Testament quotes that prepare the body verse, applying it to Christ. But I don't remember. I don't remember if it's this text or another one, but it's something like piercing an ear is preparing the body, but it was referring to preparing it for slavery. And then it gets applied to Christ. I wish I knew more specificity, but I'm just off the top of my head. I can't remember where that is. I could look that up. Maybe I should have looked that up before pointing it out. That might have been a good idea.
Well, you know, that is funny though, because I remember when I first read this and I thought, okay, is this strictly ceremonial or does it leave like a visible wound? Well, not wound, but like a mark, you know, or is it both? Or because I remember thinking this is one of those things. There's only a few things really ever in the Bible that I've come across where I'm like, wow, I don't just like, I can't just draw any sort of immediate meaning from it immediately. You know, you're looking at that and you're like, wow. So you take them to the doorpost, and then you think, well, is that is there something there in the doorpost? Like, you know, it can't just be up against a tree or something like that. So you're like, okay, so why there and why that and why the ear? And so it's a pretty interesting procedure.
So I have some thoughts on that.
Okay.
First, let me say real quick, what I was thinking of was from Hebrews 10, 5 through 7. It's quoting Psalm 40, so it's not this.
Oh, okay.
I'll leave the Greek up just in case, but for the doorpost, the reason why like the Passover is the doorpost is because it is external to the world. Anyone in public can see it. People walking by your house can see the blood of the lamb on the doorpost, and they can identify, oh yeah, that person is a Jew. They trust Yahweh. They do all those things. For the slave to have to go to the doorpost to do it means that the master can't do it behind closed door. He has to show to the public, this person is being bound in my household forever, so that there can't be accusations, there can't be falsehoods, there can't be lies, there can't be deception. This is to be done in clarity so that everyone knows this was legitimate, that there is not some impropriety happening. And then the owl, like the same thing with like the beards and everything else, like the marks on your head, like shoulder up, you can't cover with clothing in that culture as a man. So your ears being pierced would have been unusual, but it wouldn't be hideable because your hair doesn't go that long. So that you would be able to instantly tell if that person was a permanent slave or not. And it was a public procedure. So it's just all public stuff. It's kind of like the idea of circumcision setting people apart. You would bathe communally naked, so you would just see each other's genitalia. And you could say like, oh, that's a Jew, that's a Jew, that's a Jew, that's a Jew, that's not a Jew. And
I've been going
you
to
have,
people,
like,
is that guy a Jew or not? And they would answer, I go, how do you know? How do you know what he is?
you know, you don't drop trouser because you just pick up dress.
Yeah, and the left ear buccaneer, right ear is a Al Zoot with Muhammad.
A tramp stamp. Yeah. Anyway, just think of like Muhammad having a tramp stamp that says Zoots only.
That's the seal,
that's like an arrow
seal of the prophet.
Seal of the prophet.
Zoot enter here.
It's like the blacks only, or the no blacks allowed, but the opposite for the men also. Anyway, so back to the Bible. Yeah. Who are Rasuls in Judaism? Rasul just means messenger. So the closest you would get would probably be the prophets.
Oh, so there is that word in Judaism?
Just Navi.
There's Navi. Navi is prophet.
Which is also the fairy
Malak
from
is messenger.
Ocarina of Time. Did you ever notice that?
That's interesting.
Yeah, she's like
Nabi,
giving you updates of what to do the whole game. She's like a prophet.
She's a prophet. That's cute. Yeah, in Hebrew, Nabi or Navi and Nabi for Arabic, that's the same word. It just means prophet. So that's one of the cognates that is a theological term that the Quran is just copying wholesale from the Jews. Rasul, to my knowledge, the closest you get might be like Sila, but even then, it's a different trilateral root. So I don't think there's a direct equivalent.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you said that. That's what I was like. Oh, I didn't realize that was in there because I know Malak.
No, just like conceptually, like for an apostle / messenger, the closest you would get would be the Nabi. But in Islamic theology, there are different classes of people. And you don't get that
Sirat, and Sirat Rasul Allah comes from Latin, like Sirata, like it was like
for the life,
like a strata, like an amount that you went. Let me see.
Interesting.
According to Tom Holland, I said the path. One of the quest in D&D is you have to figure out whether people are Jews or not.
That's part of the prostration. Just like convince everyone to wear shorter dresses.
Wow.
Get them to prostrate. See if they're a Jew or not. As I was getting to this, McCain, actually, yeah. So the idea of the mark of the beast on the forehead is you can't hide it. And the idea of in Ezekiel 9, which is really based, actually, I think that's going to pull up something else. Ezekiel 9, we have this pretty cool little phrase here. So let me actually get rid of the Targum, Jonathan, because it's just too much text on the screen. And then I'll get rid of the Greek too for now.
Oh.
So I know that's more based in Hebrew. So And behold, 6 men were coming from the direction of the upper gate, which faces north, each with his shattering weapon in his hand. And among them was a certain man clothed in linen, with a scribe's case in his loins. And they went in and stood beside the bronze altar. The glory of the God of Israel went up from the cherub on which he had been to the threshold of the house of Yahweh. So he was chilling on top of the ark of the covenant, and then went to the threshold of the temple. And he called to the man clothed in linen, at whose loins was the scribe's case. Yahweh said to him, "Go through the midst of the city, even through the midst of Jerusalem, and put a mark on the foreheads of the men who sigh and groan over all the abominations which are being done in its midst. But go to the others," he said in my hearing, "go through the city after him and strike. Do not let your eye have pity and do not spare. Kill to utter destruction old men, chosen men, virgins, little ones, and women, but do not touch any man on whom is the mark. And you shall start from my sanctuary." So they started with the elders who were before the temple. So, because the people were sinning in this way, we have this destruction happening on the temple. Well, the mark here is Tau, or Tav, depending on how you want to say that in Hebrew. Whether you say Tau or Tav, it means the letter T. Like this letter here, the beginning of it is a Tau or a Tav, depending on if you're the ancient Hebrew pronunciation or the modern Hebrew pronunciation. Because the moderns have a V here because of the Germanic influences, and the ancients have a W. Which is why like Syriac and Arabic have a W for that letter, and the moderns have a V, but it's a whole debate that Jews don't like. So we have a Tav. We use the modern. We have a Tav here. Tav is interesting because this is literally just how you spell out the letter. So in all of the ancients, I can bring this up real quick. In all of the ancients, we have this interesting thing. Let me bring up my whiteboard.
Is your wife about to tell us something?
I did have to leave earlier before you joined because my daughter puked on the bed.
You don't get that joke, do you?
No,
Ali Dawa doesn't let his wife speak, and so he pulls a whiteboard out.
You've not seen that, Chris? You've not seen that video?
Oh no, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, okay.
So this was from
like a crazy person trying to build a bomb or something. What is? Are you schizophrenic? It's like a beautiful line.
No, that's my teaching on the more like mystical side of the letters. So we as we mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were here, Christian, or not, but each of the letters in Hebrew represent some animal or something. Like this is an ox. The Bailet is a house, and so on. All of these letters have some meaning that is attached to it. Tau is interesting, or Tav, wherever you want to spell it. This one's interesting because it is equal to a cross in the Proto-Sinaitic. So all of these other ones mean specific things. So you have your foot, you have your door, you have Hey is the spirit.
Yeah, a little like dude.
Your little worship dude. All of them have letters, but a Tau is a cross. And this is the symbol for covenant. So a covenant is established by a cross, and what is in Ezekiel is literally a cross is on the foreheads of the men who follow Yahweh. So the same idea with the I just realized I'm not actually sharing the Bible right now. So the cross here, as I tried to show, this mark here is literally a tav, it's a cross. We have a cross on the foreheads of those who follow Yahweh. And the idea is you can't hide it. You cannot go also the vav is a nail. So that gets back into the a lot of the stuff with the cross and the nail coming together with Yod He Vav He, and also Bereshit, and even Yehoshua or Yeshua. Yeshua is literally salvation. It means salvation, but the symbols for it is a hand being destroyed, witnessing on a cross or with a nail. So if you witness the hand being destroyed, that is salvation. So you have a lot of really interesting things you can do with the pictographic side of the Hebrew. But this is pretty baller. We have literally a cross on the foreheads of those who worship Yahweh. And this is the same thing in Revelation. There is a mark, a cross placed on the foreheads of those who follow God and are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. So just as the mark of the beast identifies us, the cross on the forehead will identify us forever. And the slave is identified in the Old Testament by the owl in the ear. And all three of them are public displays of your servant status to the master. As a slave, you have the ear pierced, be servant to your master. As a slave to Satan, you have the mark of the beast on you. And as a slave to Christ, you have the mark of cross on you. It all ties back into that cross, not Genesis. I don't know what I was doing there. All ties back into the public display of your allegiance. And that was a very long tangent.
It's good though. It's good.
That's wild. Yeah, that's good. Anyway, yeah, going through the not necessarily Paleo Hebrew, but Proto-Sinaitic is pretty interesting. And a lot of it is nonsense. So I would not use this as like an exegetical device. There's some stuff that makes sense. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense whatsoever. So I would not be like, oh, this is the end all be all. This is all the secret meanings of the Bible, which some people immediately do. There are some stuff that I think is legitimate and interesting, and God probably planned it. And there's other things I'm like, that is utterly nonsense.
Well, we could put it this way, that whatever's there that's neat is neat, but nothing really to you don't need to rely on anything you get from that for theology. It's cool, it's enhancing. It's like icing on the cake, but it wouldn't be something to invest in as the basis for any sort of idea.
Right. It's like the Shroud of Turin. It's a great supporting piece of evidence that's very hard to explain all the things on it, but it itself is not the foundation of your faith. Yeah.
What do you, just real quick, off topic, both of you guys, what are your thoughts on the Shroud?
I made a video on it.
Oh, you did?
It's pretty in depth. Yeah, I did. I think it's authentic.
You think
like
it's authentic?
I'm like 90% positive it's authentic. I definitely don't think it's forgery. So whether you want to say it's Christ or not, I guess that's its own debate, but it seems to be. The only problem maybe be the chain of custody. I do think you can get it down to Constantinople for like 400 AD or so. Being the image of Edessa there. If that is the case, then you can, and if it actually matches up with the Sardaeum of Avedo, which it appears to, it has the same nose, it has the same blood type, it has the same wound marking locations. If those things are identical to it, and with the new wax dating it to the 1st century AD, and that dating method actually matched the documents from the Jewish revolts. Not documents, the cloth of the Jewish revolt, the fort there. I forgot what the fort's name is right now off the top of my head.
Asada, is that what you're thinking of? Or is that was before?
I might have combined that in my head. Those things match identical. So we have a piece of cloth from Israel from that time period that has the same pollen content, has the same degradation of the linen fibers whenever it was measured with the wax dating. And then you have the blood type, not just the blood type, but also the so like the blood type is more common in Jews, and the blood content matches the like what a torture victim would go through, which is pretty weird. So it was dehydrated and tortured, and it's human blood. We have the blood type of the person is AB positive, if I remember correctly. And whenever, like as a forger, you would have to know that hundreds of years into the future, we'd be able to analyze blood on a microscopic level to tell that it was tortured. So why, as a forger, would you not use paint Why would you use human blood? And if you did use human blood, why would you torture the person before using it? And then also, why would you put the blood on before the image? Because the blood is deeper than the image.
Okay.
It's very hard to explain as a forgery.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. It's funny you bring this up because I think it was just a couple days ago. I revisit it every once in a while to try to see if, there's something new that's come up or something more convincing or less convincing. And the problem is so many people when it comes to like debating on it, they fixate on things that aren't actually that important. Uh,
Mhm.
and then they go off on these really detailed tangents on that. And it's like, well, why? Like for me, what initially strikes me is my first thoughts, which are, whatever, uh, feel like it's the person is too tall and the person's hair is too
Mm,
long.
mm,
And so I was just trying to look into that, and then you get into all these people debating on Reddit and everything about that's the proposed topic of the conversation, and then it goes into all
right.
this other stuff where they're like questioning the lineage of their grandmother or whatever, and you're like, what are you guys talking about anymore? I don't know. So
Right.
those are the first two things that struck me is like he's about 6 feet, I think, which
So he's
I
6 feet raw. If you actually wrap it around the 3D body itself, it drops it down to about like 5'10", 5'11". And then if you
mm,
account for the stretching on the cross itself,
that's what I was
that gets
thinking.
most scholars, not modern scholars who are pro Shroud, they actually are making the case that he's actually like around 5'9", which would still be a little
Okay,
tall. He'd be like 2 inches taller than
right.
the average man.
Mm,
But he wouldn't be like half a foot taller than the average man. He
right.
would still be tall, but he wouldn't be a giant. He wouldn't be Shaq, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the hair
And same with like
length,
the left
that
side and the right side being different lengths, and there's explanations for it.
mm, because then there's some people said there's like a ponytail, or maybe it wasn't a
Mhm.
ponytail, but it was maybe some blood seepage on the
Right.
reverse of the image, or but it just seemed the hair seemed too long and too not curly to me to be uh it,
Well,
period correct, I guess.
it was braided together in order to be stitched into the face covering. So on the face
Oh,
covering, we have stitching still on it.
oh, okay, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. The Serdium of Vedo has stitching where the hair was placed.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it matches it. So his hair likely was stitched into the headcloth to keep it all together. Because if you think about like the body's going to decompose, you just want it to be like mostly in place so that you can just gather it up and then put
Mm,
it in the bone box.
right.
Because that's what they had authorized. That's what they would do.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think it's pretty authentic. I mean, you can check out my full video. It's like a 30-minute video on it. But I give
I think
all
it'd be the
the
coolest thing in the
scholarly
world for
opinions.
it to be authentic.
It is, yeah.
And so I try not, I try not to let my own personal desires push my
Right.
uh allowance for evidence, but I mean,
Well,
I think it would be awesome if
yeah,
it's authentic, but I want to
yeah.
be completely sure before I think so.
Yeah, I get it.
So I always
I am
check back
deeply
in.
anti-relic. I
Mm,
don't like relics in general. I still don't
yeah.
like relics in general. It's the literal only relic I actually believe in to be authentic.
Mhm.
So,
So
yeah.
what's that quiet gadfly doing over there, just sitting back and he's huffing his guitar fretboard oil or something?
I
What's it?
like relics. If you collect them in your churches, you get gold over time. You get a gold star to whoever gets that reference.
What's the relic in your D&D campaign?
I don't know. I was thinking of Age of Empires too. If you collect the relics and put them in your churches, you get gold.
Man, I
The
loved that
relic
game
Aisha's
when I was a
doll.
kid. That was
we need
probably
I
relics and magic items for the Islamic D&D campaign. One would be there's like a in Surat Rasul Allah, there's like a stick that turns into a sword. So that'd be a cool sword to have in there.
that would be a cool sword.
And
You
he
could get
gives
Aisha's dolls, and it like gives you charm.
Whenever you hold the dolls, it makes your age 10 years younger than whatever you are. So you can like use it to get past guards and stuff. I was just a kid.
The goat that ate the Quran. It's now immortal because of the Quran. Have that as a companion.
Yeah, we need to come up with a bestiary and a list of magic items. And like stars, like a bag of stars that you can throw at Jen.
The garments that Muhammad is wearing, so you can like cross-dress your character. It gives you prophetic vision if you cross-dress. So many, man. D&D just writes itself with Islam.
I know, it'd be great. I'm telling you. And anyone who's listening to this who has more time than I do, I work 2 jobs and have a family. Man, take this idea and run with it. Just let me be on the team of people that comes in. If I'm too busy, just let me be an NPC who pops up once in a while. I could be some weird little goblin demon or something.
Eat the Quran, become immortal. Great. Okay. Continuing on. So, and if he takes for himself another woman, he may not reduce her food, her clothing, or her conjugal rights. Oh wait, no, I skipped I think a little bit. Oh, no, if a man sells his daughter as a female slave and she is not to go free as the male slaves do, if she's displeasing in the eyes of her master who designates her for himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He does not have authority to sell her to a foreign people because of his treachery to her. And if he designates her for his son, he shall do to her according to the custom of daughters. If he takes for himself another woman, he may not reduce her food, her clothing, or her conjugal rights. And if he will not do these 3 things for her, then she shall go out for nothing without payment of money. Meaning she doesn't have to pay a divorce price or anything like that. They're like, oh, well, this is evil. This is saying that the man owns the woman forever. Well, yeah, he's married as a wife. It's not just that they're a slave, because if you have intercourse with a slave, they're automatically your wife. So if she has conjugal rights, this is a wife, not a slave. So she's not going to go free because she's now part of the household. She's now part of that man forever. They are two become one flesh. So if he is not happy with her and he's going to divorce her, he does not have the authority to sell her to a foreign people because of his treachery to her. He can
he
technically divorce her.
He loses the power position in that issue because he failed to live up to what he was obligated to do.
Promised. Yeah. So there's actually protection for the woman that she can't just be taken advantage of. Like sex slavery doesn't exist inside of the Torah. It's actually condemned outright.
Right.
It's not something that can happen because once you have intercourse with a woman, whether it was consensual or not, she's automatically free. And not only is she automatically free, you then have to support her. You have to pay like essentially alimony for the rest of her life. Whether you're having intercourse with her or not, whether she accepts the relationship or not, you have to pay alimony for the rest of her life if you do that to her. So it's the exact opposite of the Quran, which gets back into the Islamic dilemma. That is what it is. And if he designates her for his son, she shall do to her according to the custom of daughters. And if he takes another woman, he can't subjugate, like he can't diminish her. Even though she was a slave originally, even though she was a woman, you cannot diminish her rights as a human. This is God elevating slaves to the status of human. Which, if you look at the Code of Hammurabi, as we mentioned earlier, or any of the other legal codes at this time period, slaves were not human. Women were not entirely human. They were more the property. So this is women being elevated to human level, which is awesome. And then if you
mean they don't have half a brain in this one?
No, they actually can think. Yeah, it's almost as if God wrote it. Yeah, weird how that happens.
All right, guys, this was fun. I'm gonna have to hop off. I'm so tired. I have a long day at work tomorrow too. So, but thank you for having me on again, Chris.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
It's good to see you again, Steven. It's always
you too.
Y'all have a good one.
You too. Good night.
Stay away from the zoo.
Stay away from this. Okay, we'll probably go for another 30 to 45 minutes and then continue on for the next several weeks until we actually get it through it all. We don't just hit tangent tangent walls. So he who strikes a man so that he dies shall surely be put to death. But if he did not lie and wait for him, but God let him fall into his hand, then I will appoint you a place which he may flee. So again, if it's not murder, if it's not premeditated, you have a city of sanctuary that you can go to. So the whole translation of "you shall not kill" is not, just obviously not the same thing. Could you imagine how much alimony the Damaganus would have to pay under that law?
Yeah.
Brother.
You know,
Yeah.
we do see, I mean, that is a trajectorial continuation of how people taking something that was established for a good reason and then completely manipulating it into self-serving stuff. Because
Mm,
I mean, even in the New Testament, when they come to Jesus with Moses, Moses gave us the commandment for divorce,
mm,
and so the Islamic idea of divorce is not too different in, I guess, in what am I trying to say, Chris? Figure it out. You could
from what like
take
the Pharisees were
probably.
doing, or
Right,
the
right. You
Sadducees
could
were the
take the
yeah.
biblical commandment and manipulate it the same twisted way as we find now in Islam. And but then Jesus points out that no, you've missed the whole point entirely. This wasn't
Right.
this wasn't so you could start up a rotating ring of women that you borrow for an hour a night, or uh,
Mm-hmm.
a week in Mecca on your vacation or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was not there for that, but give something to man and let man run with it, and you'll
Yeah.
end up with very carnal activities being overlaid on top of biblical commandments.
Yeah. That exact prohibition exists in the Bible too. Like you can't do that.
Hmm.
If you like sell your wife or if you marry a wife for the weekend, like that type of idea,
Hmm.
that's not biblical. That is first
Right.
off, selling your wife, you can't remarry her afterward.
Right. If you
So like
divorce your wife, yeah, you can't.
if she has intercourse with another man, you can't then go and remarry her, which is the opposite of the
Mm.
Quran, literally the opposite, where you
Which
have to
that
have
one,
intercourse with someone else to get remarried.
yeah. Oh gosh. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many things. There's so many things in there that are just like, man, to not to avoid going off on another tangent. I won't. But that's wow. That's really
Yeah.
bizarre.
It's pretty messed up. What
Mm,
languages should Christians learn? Uh, this is debated on whether or not you want to learn Greek first or Hebrew first. They're very
hmm.
different. They're like polar opposites.
Yes.
Greek is all like grammar based and like way less contextual. Hebrew is all context based. Um, you Greek is good just because you get both the Old Testament and the New Testament in Greek, and you
Mm,
can see why the Christians are quoting because they quote the Septuagint, LXX.
mm,
They're quoting that primarily. So if you want to go through like, okay, when Matthew says that a virgin will conceive, is that actually authentic? Is that valid? And then you go through the Greek Old Testament, you're like, oh yeah, it is. That's exactly what the Greek Old Testament says in Isaiah 9. So or 7. Isaiah 7?
not nine
9 is
seven, or is it
no,
7 9
I think
or
7 is the
14?
virgin, and then 9 is the El Gabor. Remember
Okay.
correctly. Those two are important. I just swap them in my head sometimes. Anyway, uh, if you want to look through those different passages, learning the Greek is important for that purpose. And then you can debate Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses, because they do some Greek foo, or at least they attempt to.
Although I did catch
Um,
them. I I spoke with Mormons weekly for a year and a half, and their concept of Elohim and Yahweh is very bizarre. Because a
Mhm.
lot of times in Hebrew you have Yahweh Elohim
Right.
together,
'Cause it's God.
and I think they say Yahweh is, I
Uh,
don't even remember.
Jesus,
That
I think?
one is Jesus and one is the Father, and they're
Yeah.
distinct. But then, so
It's
then
the
I brought
Heavenly
up,
Father Elohim is
mhm,
the Father. I think Yahweh is Jesus.
okay, yeah, and so you bring up, well, here it says Yahweh Elohim right here, and I showed them in the literal Hebrew, and the poor, they get sent out on their missions when they're 18, I think, and they have it's basically like a Dawa script. And if you
Mm,
veer off of that, then they kind of, their eyes
leave.
glaze over and they go, well, I know that I know from the feeling in my chest that Joseph Smith is the
The burn
prophet
in the
and the Holy
bosom.
Spirit, right, the burning in the
Mhm,
bosom. And
mhm.
that's if they were more violent, I think they would be they would get a lot more attention from the Christian community, but they're very polite. And I mean, they offered to help me mow my lawn, and all
Mhm.
this stuff. But they are just I mean, it's watered down Islam is what Mormonism is, and unfortunately it's leads to the same end result,
Yeah.
which is hell. So they need as much
They used to be
attention as
violent.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. They did some many genocides.
Hmm.
The first couple generations, they were pretty violent. Um,
Yeah,
what's his face? Ooh.
Brigham Young.
Brigham Young had a personal butcher. He had an executioner that would go around and kill his political enemies. I'm not even making that up. That's a legitimate thing. Um, what was the guy's name? He had an actual assassin that he would go out and kill people.
Wow.
It's wild. And he has his
Yeah, so
own
hopefully
university. Anyway, uh,
after Islam kind of, I think we're on course for Islam to really recede a bit, and then and hopefully we can get some. I mean, there's a lot of good Christian organizations that are witnessing to Mormons, but there's a lot of Christians who think that Mormons are Christians, and
right.
they are not. If you know anything,
No,
you just get beyond a little bit of the surface level of their theology, and then you're like, wow, that is. I mean, I don't even know what to consider. I mean, it's to me, it reminds me
it's a
of like
polytheist.
when, yeah, and you read about like what's the L. Ron Hubbard Scientology, and
Oh,
you're like, well, that's really
Scientology.
weird. But
Hmm.
but Mormonism
It's very
presents
similar.
itself as just like we're just good old-fashioned Christians, and look, we love Jesus. He came to America, and then you read the Book of Mormon, and I mean, anybody who I think I would hope who's familiar with reading the Bible, you go to read the Book of Mormon and you're like, this is pretty weird. Yeah, I don't really see a lot of anything in here that makes me feel comfortable. And
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
mm,
A lot of it's just
so-
nonsense. It's just like made up fan fiction.
yeah,
Um,
really.
but the way that he changed like the Joseph, if you've ever read the Joseph Smith translation,
Oh
it's
yeah,
pretty dumb.
and
It's pretty
he adds
amazingly
himself
dumb.
into the
Yeah,
part
Genesis
of
51.
Genesis. Yeah, it's
51.
very
Yeah.
Muhammad-like. It's
Uh-huh.
look, I'm in
Yeah.
there.
They are
Uh,
like Joseph Smith and Muhammad is the best case for reincarnation there is. It just straight up, it just is. Uh, no one else in history, just those two are the same person.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. It's insane how similar they are.
Very impressive. Yeah.
Um,
Same probably
yeah,
demonic influence, I would imagine.
probably yes. Especially because the two angels came to both of them.
Mm,
Because you get Israfel for Muhammad, and then
mm,
Gabriel because he changed it because he had not it wasn't Jibril originally, it was Israfel, which comes from Seraphel, which is a angel that is an angel made of fire because it's a
mm,
seraph. So it's the
mm,
seraph of El is literally the name. So it's a fire angel that is coupled with Michael the archangel in some pre-Islamic witchcraft books where you like use the name of Seraphel to gain this like divine knowledge and all these
Okay.
interesting things. It's like, yeah, that sounds pretty demonic. It sounds pretty witchcrafty.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the exact same roots, Israel versus Seraphel. So maybe he is practicing divination and all that stuff, and that's where he got all of his stuff for the Quran,
In the
which is
cave.
exactly what
Yeah.
Joseph Smith was doing, because Joseph
Yeah, with
Smith
his
was
looking
a
in the hat
diviner.
with the gold plates and
No, before that, his family were basically swindlers. Like they did
yeah, right.
treasure
His
hunting,
dad, Joseph Smith
professional
Sr.,
treasure
right?
hunters.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's how
But the way you
I've
would do
read that
treasure
it
hunting back then was you would do it through divining,
right.
divination. So you would do like the divining rods, or you would do like cards. Like there's a bunch of different practices, but you did basically witchcraft to find the
Yeah.
treasure and to find water and to find all that stuff. That's what his family was up to. That's what his family was doing. And then he
Hmm.
practiced automatic writing, which is demonic, and
Right, right.
looking into the hat and all that stuff. It's like, that sounds very Mohammedan.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, same person, same brain,
Yeah, pretty
same
much.
messed up religions. Yeah. Anyway, okay,
So Chris, real quick, mute me
okay,
and I'll go attend to something and I'll be tuned in, but I'll be right back.
okay,
And you continue.
cool. So we'll fly through a little bit of the Bible. My original plan, for those wondering, was to go from 20 to 35 or 36. Um, that's not happening. 34. Anyway, we'll get back to it. If, however, a man acts presumptuously towards his neighbor so as to kill him by deceit, you shall take him even from my altar that he may die. This is a pretty based command. If you murder someone, you have no protection from God. You have no protection from man. You have no protection from anything. Even if you are in the altar of God in the temple or in the tabernacle, holding on to it, like trying to stay alive, they are to grab you by your legs and pull you out and then bring you out of the assembly and kill you there. So you have no protection. God takes murder as such a high standard, such a high bar of sin and evil, that even if you were to try to plead on the altar of God, you will be ripped out of it and then killed. There is no salvation. There is nothing. There's no repentance for that. Yet we get in Psalm 51 with David, who did murder, that he knew that there was no sacrifice for a sin, and that the only sacrifice that was acceptable was a broken and contrite heart. And ultimately, the only sin that the only sacrifice that could actually take away this sin is Jesus on the cross. So we have God again elevating the value of man over and over and over again. We see this throughout the law. The law, as I am not going to get to all of today, but the law has protections for a bunch of classes that didn't have any protections before this point in time in all of the other legal codes. So it has protections and provisions for women, children, the unborn, slaves, animals, and foreigners, and the poor. Those are all categories of people that historically have been oppressed in every society, except by the Torah in the Bible, because the New Testament also doesn't oppress them. So the New Testament is more clearly explaining what the Old Testament was meant to do. It also has grace in it, which is why it's a better law. Which Stephen will we can argue with that. But we have here, it's just amazing. Like, even if you are to try to gain sanctuary in the temple itself, you are to be removed, to be put to death. And he who strikes his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He who kidnaps a man, whether he sells him or he's found in his hand, shall surely be put to death. So again, the reason why the slavers in America had to change their Bible is because of verses like this. When you have a verse that says if you kidnap a man and sell him into slavery, you are to be put to death. How can you have that in your Bible if you're a slaver who kidnapped people and put them in slavery? Or you bought someone from someone who did it? Like, this is amazing. this is protection against the type of slavery that everyone practiced, because they would all practice warfare slavery, or like exactly what happened to Joseph. Joseph was
Mm,
sold into slavery because he got essentially kidnapped. He was forced into slavery. So by this standard, the brothers slash the Midianites, whoever actually sold him, with that whole debate, whoever sold Joseph would be put to death in that instance, and then the Egyptians would also be, I think, put to death for buying him from them. But pretty big. So this also gets maybe back into the Ten Commandments. If you say it shall not kidnap instead of steal, then this might be a explanation of it, or the punishment for it if you do it. Because we also have do not murder, and here we have if you murder, then you'll be put to death. So this might be evidence of, okay, kidnapping in the Ten Commandments is literally what it means. It's just kidnapping. So do not enslave people. So part of the Ten Commandments would be a prohibition against slavery itself, which is pretty based if it is. It's like, oh, the Bible supports slavery. And it's like, one of the Ten Commandments might be do not enslave people. That might be
mm,
one of the ways you could render it. That's insane. Um, Very different from the rest of the world. Very different. Even up until recently, slavery still exists in some countries in the world. There's more
mm.
slaves per capita now than there was in the 1700s. That's pretty insane. They're mostly sex slaves, but there's more slaves now than there was in the 1700s per capita. Not even in the total number, because obviously it'd be in the total number. We have billions of people now, but per capita, because people are still enslaving one another, and the Torah outlawed it. The only type of slavery that's valid, and mind you, this does not say you cannot enslave a Hebrew. This says you cannot enslave a man this way. This implies foreigners too.
Mm.
So even though the prohibitions of a servant going free every 6 years is for Jewish slaves, here we still have you cannot kidnap a person to enslave them. This is a prohibition against the type of slavery that the world practiced. So the
Well, and we
only
also
valid
have
form of slavery would be indentured slavery at this point in time.
mm, we also have the commandment about where if you knock the slave's tooth out, so
Right.
so we even have treatment on. I mean, the word slave has been kind of. I mean, I grew up with being really hammered in, about American black slavery,
Right.
which is like in my mind that's the only kind of slavery as a kid. I was like, oh, that's what slavery is. And
Right.
I mean, a lot of times it was, but so then when you get to like the Bible and you read the word slave, you think, oh wow, so there's
Of the
slave and you're right, right. And you think of it as the same thing, but there's all these prohibitions on on how you cannot treat them, and there's also things on how you are to treat them, or how you're to provide for them, or things like that. And it's really not. People hear the word slave and they immediately think bad, which good, but when you read it in the
correct, yeah.
Bible, slave is not really to
The type
conflate
of
the.
slave that we have. Right.
Right, correct. And so so many
It's not chattel
people.
slavery.
Exactly. And but that's what most Westerners, at least, I mean, Americans, I would say, at least, that's what they think of when they hear the word slave. Even though, like,
Right.
even the name Obadiah is Hebrew for slave of Yahweh. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a slave is I think even when I was a kid, I loved Boba Fett in Star Wars, and his ship was called Slave One. And I think I
Mm,
just saw a news article where they like renamed it's just called Boba Fett's ship now because that word is it's like it might as well be a cuss word. And
mm,
so when you're reading through the Bible, or especially people who maybe aren't Christians or new Christians, and they come across this word slave and they think, oh, yuck, like, well, I hear all these good things about God and about Jesus, and you even hear it from Muslims. Your God allowed slavery, and which is funny because we all know what Muhammad thought of slaves, and black slaves in particular. But
right.
it's really not. It's not. the Western American idea of a slave. That's not
Nope.
what biblical slave or biblical slavery is. It's not like that at all.
Right. I have a Lego slave one that I showed on camera while you're talking.
Oh, really?
Funny. Yeah. Yeah, my little guy. And then show him big screen. A
Oh,
little slave
wow.
one.
Yeah.
My little Boba Fett in
Did
it
it,
too.
was it, when you bought that, was it packaged as a slave one or was it Boba Fett's ship?
It was slave one.
Oh, really?
It was a
Okay.
long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have Anakin up there too. Anyway, um, so to what you were saying for the servant versus slave, in
Hmm.
Hebrew, there's no difference between the word. Um,
Right.
it's the same word for servant and slave. So
Hmm.
interestingly, Jesus is called a slave in the Old Testament because in Isaiah it says that my
Yeah,
servants
yeah. Hmm.
will be lifted and high. Well, that exact word is my slave. If you want to
Hmm.
call it that. So if you want to interpret it as slave versus servant, the what's happening in the law is indentured servitude.
Hmm.
It is basically a economic status that you're in because you
And
can't
it's
kidnap people, you
actually
cannot force people
beneficial
into it.
for the debtor,
It
you
is.
know.
It's a welfare system to
Right,
remove
right.
poverty.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a system that works quite well. So
Yeah.
that mixed with Jubilee and the
Hmm.
Sabbath reset, like God put in so many things in place in the law to make sure generational poverty can't happen.
Correct. Well, and think of it this way too, with the Sabbath, however you want to think, however people want to think of slaves or slavery, you can't even you cannot have your slave work on Sabbath.
Right.
So, uh, and then with the reminder too, where he says you were once slaves in Egypt,
Hmm.
it's it,
Beautiful.
yeah, it's wonderful, it really is, and people will take this and be like, oh, here, these guys, they love slavery and they're, but it's read the
Oh, you
book
don't
and read it
understand.
honestly,
Right.
and we're not saying anybody should own anybody or do this or but neither is the
Right.
Bible. That's kind of the point. And
Right.
you just hear the
The
word
type of
slave and you're
slavery that the world practices is illegal and punishable by death in the Torah,
right, right.
just outright. So, if you want to say, "Oh, the Bible condones slavery," that's a misnomer. That's not what's
Hmm.
happening.
Right.
It just doesn't outright. So if you want to be like, "Oh, well, the Bible allows indentured servitude," it's like, sure, but working at McDonald's is no better.
Right. I mean, it's actually probably worse.
It's yeah, like if you're a barista at Starbucks with student debt, you're in a worse
Hmm.
situation off than the indentured servants in Israel
Yep.
back in the 1300s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
1300s BC.
BC, yeah, BC.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, Bible's pretty based. It's not actually encouraging the type of slavery that everyone. And ironically, like everything that critics claim Christianity is what Islam is. So
Yeah.
Islam
Yep.
practices
You're
this
right.
form of slavery. They practice this form of
Hmm.
slavery up until the 1960s in most of the countries. It was the 20th century when they started outlawing slavery. There's people alive today who were slaves under those
Mm.
systems. That's insane.
Yeah.
The only reason why they stopped is because the caliphate fell. They didn't have any
Hmm.
power anymore, and they couldn't maintain their slavery, their
Right. And they
empire.
had to kind of
Like
catch up with the Western world.
bow down to us because we kind of like smushed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they adopted our practices, and part of that was
Hmm.
abolishing slavery.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So all the black people are becoming Muslim, and it's like,
Yeah.
Muhammad hated you.
He
He would have
traded
said
two of
some
you for
pretty
one
terrible
guy.
things. Right, yeah. There was some instances where there's like more than two African slaves for one Arab slave. And he called you raisin heads, he called you all
Yeah.
sorts of yeah. Um pretty messed up.
I
Anyway,
mean, to this day, this is a bit tangential, but it just I don't know. I have to talk about this because I don't know why I got on it, or but it's so related. There is a there is a like to this day you can go on eBay and get a Middle Eastern candy. It's like a chocolate dome, and it's Ras Al Abd, which means head of the slave, and it's a
mm,
candy, but it's like chocolate, but it's called like a slave's head. Like that's literally what the name of that candy is. Slave's head.
interesting.
I don't know your lineage, Chris, but my German grandma, uh, at Christmas time, she when we were kids, she would put out a bowl of nuts with like a nutcracker and everything, and there was all type of nuts in there, and there was Brazil nuts, and she had a very not proper term for those. Are you familiar with, you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
But
My
so
mom was born in Berlin, and
oh really? Okay.
yeah, I'm German. I'm German and Irish
Okay.
mixed. That's why I'm so pale. Um, my dad served in Germany in the army,
Oh
so
wow.
it's it was interesting. They like got to hang out where she was born and whatnot while they were engaged. So
Wow, that's
pretty
super
interesting.
cool.
But yeah, we're not so German that we have accents or anything. The only
Mm.
German my mom would yell at me would be like silly phrases like "Come see hier bitte," but it was not not in like the pleasant, nice tone. It was more like "Get here now or else."
Right, right.
Um, yeah,
My
but
grandma still has an accent,
yeah.
but she doesn't know she does. But she's God willing, in August of 2026, she'll turn 96 years old. So she lived through World War II in Germany. Uh, she's got a crazy story, but I got now I was initially talking about Middle Eastern chocolates, and now I'm onto my German
Mm.
grandma. So try to get back, but yeah, I think it's like Ras Al Abd slave heads. You can still
Oh,
get them
that's
on eBay, and it's just like a chocolate dome, but they call them slave heads.
that's so silly, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Islam's great. We should spread it everywhere.
It's just so
Ah,
interesting though, because up until the internet, really, the internet will be the downfall of Islam because, like was saying earlier, when I first started studying it, like 20 years ago, you look up Islam and you get all this. I mean, there's this one, there's Yusuf Islam, Cat Stevens. He did this video to teach the Arabic alphabet, and there's no music in it because music is haram, even though you did go back to music. But it's this really well produced thing where he's in the mosque and there's a little boy and he goes through the entire alphabet,
uh-oh.
and he's each letter he relates to a word that he then ties into the Quran, and it's, I mean, it's very like, to the ear it's very pleasant, very beautiful.
Mm.
So they were on this kind of this campaign to be viewed as like, we respect Jesus, we respect Mary, we are a peaceful people, we're scholars, we're close with God. And then, the internet comes along and you get all the translation of their sources. I remember when I first was able to, I found Sahih al-Bukhari online, and I was reading through
Mm.
and I was like,
Uh-oh.
this is stuff that I thought that Islamophobic people were making up. Kind of the difference of when you get these fake quotes about the Talmud,
Mm.
and they're like,
Right.
oh, it's from this book and it's this and it says to do this and this to 3-year-olds, and you're like, oh, okay. It's not really a conversation that's a pleasant one, but it's not it's not going after what you were presenting it as. But then you read Sahih al-Bukhari and you're like, this is just actually, that's what that is. This is, it's very direct. You're like, yeah, oh wow. Oh, y- this is bad stuff.
Uh,
And
mhm.
so Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So many tangents, but we were talking
Yeah.
on the Torah, and that is the good thing though. You read the Bible, and people who don't want to see the light in it will
Mhm.
will pick their fights with it, and unfortunately, a lot of them will not be interested in any clarification or explanation. They'd just be like, well, there's slavery in the Bible, and uh, there's animal sacrifice, and that's pretty twisted. And there's that
Mhm.
one guy, he sacrificed his daughter, and they picked all that stuff out. But if you, I know everybody would say this, but this is the case where it's actually true. If you really look at the stuff as it is, you don't have to appeal to scholars, you don't have to appeal to anything like that. If you just look at the book as it is, it's pretty self-explanatory. There are things that can
Right.
like, even like I even talked about earlier with the putting the awl through the slave's ear and the doorpost, and like I didn't really get that, but there's nothing in there where you're like, oh gosh. I mean, I guess I'm speaking, I guess, from a biased perspective, because I I observe it, and I follow the God who wrote it. But even before that, it was compared to other holy books. Like, for example, I say this all the time. In the Torah, the first 5 books, we have um, across the board prohibition of human sacrifice.
Right.
And if you take that back to the time periods when it's written and before, that did not exist on the planet anywhere. There was not a religion that didn't at some
Mhm.
point expect a human sacrifice.
Mhm.
And it's kind of sad how that's not as impactful as it ought to be, because now, we look at human sacrifices and outdated this or that, or maybe it happened at some point, but we would never do that. Eh, eh, Try being the one and only religion on the planet with this small minority of human beings where we say, no, our God hates that. It
Mhm.
really is. I mean, that alone says so much about the validity of the message.
Right.
And we have that all throughout the Torah, and we have it all throughout the Old Testament, and we have it in all through the entire Bible. Human sacrifice is not, it's despicable to God. And we have that all
Mhm.
the way back in as far as Genesis, and then with the prohibitions against it in Moses's writings, the
Right.
legal writings. And it's a very unique aspect of the biblical faith.
Right.
So it's like the what you put in the thumbnail. The law is underrated. You cannot actually appreciate the law to its full extent. I mean, Jesus is the living law. He's the living law,
Mhm.
and so it is incomprehensible to our human mind how great it actually is. And that's my little spiel there.
Yes. Based. Absolutely. Yeah. The law is so deep. I mean, the whole Bible is so deep, it's kinda hard to fathom.
Hmm.
The law has so much nuance, so you really have to study the original cultures to understand it. If you don't
Hmm.
like there's so many things, like, strike you as odd whenever you read the law, which is part of the reason why I wanted to go over it together on stream, is just, um, people who've never spent time to understand the law, they don't spend time to understand the culture or the background and context. It helps to have someone who knows that to go through it with you so you can appreciate it more. Now my knowledge on the Torah is not, exhaustive by any stretch of the imagination, but it's gonna be significantly more than I would say most people. Um,
Hmm.
Hence why I wanna do these streams on just going through the law. It's gonna take a while, but especially if we go through 2 hours of tangents in a 3-hour stream every time. But yeah, man, it's yeah, fathom deep. I heard a pun.
Well, too, there's so much in the law that uh, tells you so fills in a lot of gaps in the New Testament. Like for example,
Yes.
when they say that she reached out and touched the hem of Jesus's garment, that it's
Mhm.
the Greek word for
This is a
tzitzit,
CC. Yeah.
and so as a as a regular church going Christian who may be content with an hour of church every Sunday or something, you might not ever even know that that shows that
The depth
Jesus
of
was
that.
wearing tzitzit. And
Right.
uh, but then you'll see Jews and you're like, oh, what are those funny strings they're wearing? And you have a disconnect there with your actual
Mhm.
Savior. You so many people wouldn't recognize Jesus if they saw him, which is
Right.
sad. Uh, and so I think it's important to bridge the gap because like you would your teachings on Passover and the holy days and everything, there's so much in there that Christians are, and I do, I hold the church leaders and the pastors and the preachers much more accountable for this. As Christians, we would say everybody, if you can get a Bible, which now you can, they're not $150,000 objects anymore. You can literally get one for free if you stay at a hotel,
Right.
So
Right.
every Christian should read their Bible. Now, that's not to say though that every Christian is going to be able to be able to sit down and uh, dig into all these things. And so that's why it does kind of fall on the people who are uh, have put themselves in positions to lead.
The
And
shepherds.
so when you go to
Yeah.
church, you should hear about these things.
It's
And
true.
I think that there will be a lot to answer for on Judgment Day for preachers and pastors who are not bridging this gap, because it's a gap that I obviously believe was satanically introduced, and it's one that has led to uh, Christian anti-Semitism. It's one that has led to Jewish misunderstanding of the Messiah, because
Christianity. Yeah.
they look at Christianity and say, well, that how I mean, that's not our Messiah. That and they were, they were
Mhm.
wrong to do that initially with the not the coming conqueror Messiah to free them from the
Right.
Romans, but in all the time since then, they look at a long blonde-haired, uh, pig-eating, Sabbath-breaking Jesus, and they say, well, that could not possibly be the Messiah. So
Right.
these are really important things to talk about. There's another opportunity for me. I do it every time, I think, but to thank you for having someone on like me who can talk about this stuff, and where you will talk with me instead of this being just a boxing match or some sort of uh, controversial this or that. I really do
Yeah.
appreciate being invited to be a guest on these things. That's why I really don't ever I try not to miss one when I'm invited, because I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and say my point of things. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. I mean, I love having you. I love talking to you. Very uh it's people, they don't understand how important knowing the whole Bible is.
Hmm.
And so many Christians are like, "Oh, you just have to read the Old New Testament. You don't have to worry about the Old Testament." And just
Hmm.
like it hurts my heart because like all of the New Testament is just quoting the Old Testament pretty much. And if you don't understand the
It's
theology, you understand
commentary on the Old
the
Testament.
context of the Old. It is. It's a comment. So, the Old Testament is an incomplete book. The New Testament is the end of the book. It's not the book. It's not the center of
Hmm.
the book. It's the completion of it. It's the
Right.
wrapping up of all the loose ends. But the main section of the Bible is the Old Testament. Not only is it the most amount of text, but blood covenant, like salvation, the way salvation works is based mostly on the Old Testament, and then people commentating on it to explain it in a more direct way in the New Testament.
Mhm.
That's what the New Testament is. It's just commentary on the Old Testament.
Well, and
The
again,
law
you know,
doesn't
to
really
that
change that
point,
much.
thinking about in the New Testament, when they reference scripture, they're not talking about any of the books of the New Testament. They're only talking
Except for
about the
two
Old Testament.
instances. Yeah. Paul refers to Luke as scripture, and Peter refers to Paul as scripture. Other than that, it's all Old
Oh,
Testament.
okay. Well, right,
Yeah.
right. But yeah, so it's like again, not to denigrate in any way any of the New Testament books, but they exist as they're like the New Testament is like the blossom on the flower of the Old Testament, and you
Mm,
can't have the blossom without the
the
everything
tree.
that comes before it, right? And
Right.
so you can't really understand one without the other. Now, I would say though, the New Testament is good enough to get you saved, um, but
Right.
without an understanding of everything that came before it, it's also enough. I mean, there's so many people like that one guy who's coming up now. What's his name? I don't even want to give him airtime. Joel Webbon, that weird. I mean, I don't even know what to think. But and I don't think he's anything new. I think this has been a constant thread, unfortunately, throughout Christianity for a long time. But you get that poison thread that weaves in, and if you're only familiar with certain things, or you only hear maybe one or two verses a week at your 1 hour Sunday sermon, it's not out of the question or unlikely for you to be easily deceived. So
Hmm.
this is a message to you, Christians. Read your Bibles, all of them. All from Genesis to
All of it.
Revelation. Read
Yeah.
them, and
Right.
you don't have to memorize it. You don't have to be like an expert into it. Read it and reference it, and let that be your source. That and the Holy Spirit, they work hand in hand. Jesus is the living Word of God. So we've got the
Hmm.
written Word of God and living Word of God. Go to both of them, and always make sure that if anything comes up, you test things against both, because they ought
Right.
to work together.
Hmm.
I'm
Biebery,
getting a little bit
actual
feisty here,
James.
so I don't want to overtake anything.
A little bit of righteous anger boiling up. Yeah.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, I get that. There's definitely a biblical illiteracy that is prevalent throughout Christianity,
mhm.
which really sucks.
Yeah.
Like we have so many commentaries on the Bible. We have so many commentaries on the Torah. We have so many
Mhm.
commentaries on the law. We have so many commentaries on how it like works between the two. Like we are left without excuse. We have access to so
Yeah.
many resources to understand the context and the history and the background of everything in the Bible, and it's
It's a
available
bit
to you for
shameful.
very little money.
Yeah.
It's all it takes is time
We
and
have
effort
it. I mean, if you've got a smartphone, it's in your pocket all day long. And I mean,
in every language. Yeah,
in every language. I mean, even you could have it read to you. There's audio Bibles. You don't even have to do the work of reading it. It's
the
we are.
commentaries can be read to you too. Like
Yep.
it's yeah, hmm
We are left
yeah,
without
and yet we
excuse.
don't know. Yeah,
Mhm.
our generation specifically is left without excuse. Beyond
Yeah.
any of the other generations, we are going to be on Judgment Day held to a higher standard than every other past generation up until
Yep.
now,
We
other
we
than
were
the
talking
generation
on
of Christ.
on the last stream about how, I mean, up until just when were the verses and chapters put in the Bible, and in order
Right.
to, and now like you don't even have to have that in mind. Just
Hmm.
type 3 or 4 words of a verse you remember, and then there it takes you right to it. And like you said, in any language you want. So yeah,
Can read
this
the
will definitely
original
be.
Greek and Hebrew, and
Yep.
yeah. Hmm. It is. It's amazing. It's awesome. We have
Mm,
no excuse. We need to do better, get better. For studying the Torah, one book that I actually really enjoyed is by a Jew. Um, surprisingly, not surprisingly, I love my Jewish brothers in Christ who have not yet come to Christ, who will, God willing. Um, Dennis Prager, who is getting, he's currently immobilized.
Mhm.
Um, Hopefully, God will heal him and he'll make a recovery from that. But he wrote what's called the Rational Bible series, and I love his Exodus and Genesis. I own all five. I haven't gone through all five yet. But the Rational Bible by Dennis Prager. He's not Orthodox, so I like him a bit more. I think he's Reformed Judaism, so he's a heretic according to the rabbinics. But I really love that study. And he goes through a lot of the background on and he does a lot of comparisons. He also does bring up some of the rabbinic sources, like he brings up Rashi and Rambam and Sarna quite often.
Mhm.
So he's like a pretty average Jew, like the average Joe, but like an average Jew, not ultra orthodox. And he's just explaining that he's been teaching Torah his entire life. So going through his commentary on the Torah is pretty enlightening as far as the law goes. Like, okay, why does this law exist? And then you can get more of the Jewish context of it.
Mhm.
Then I would also read a Christian commentary after that if you want to get the Christian perspective on some of the typology, some of the other explanations behind it, because we don't always have the same explanation of things.
Right.
Um, but the law is not really that different between Jews and Christians and how we explain it, other than just what
Mm.
ties to Christ, what doesn't tie to Christ. Because like the first 10 chapters of Leviticus is all just typology of Jesus. Like
Mhm.
all of the sacrificial system, all five sacrifices point to the cross.
Mhm.
So we can explain what the sacrifices are meant to be doing, how the fat lobes affect things, why you bring certain parts of the body to other parts, why the blood is splashed, how it's splashed, what's sprinkled with, if it's used hyssop or not, the importance of hyssop. Like you can go through all of that understanding and then do the extra layer of icing on top, which is the typology of Jesus going to the
Mhm.
cross and all of it. So you can study like the super you can study all of the Torah in all of its depth, and then do another study on top of that with Christ and how, like, every page of the Bible points to Jesus.
Yeah,
Just doing
absolutely.
a study
I did
of
see there was a very it must have been I can't remember if he said explicitly or not, but it must have been a Jew that was very angry about the Passover Seder video. And he was saying that you were cherry picking and how dare you say that this has to do with Jesus. And
right.
it's like we're not cherry picking because we're pointing out, we're explaining very clearly how this all ties in. And he goes, "Yeah,
Mhm,
you hate the Muslims for doing the same thing." It's like, no, we're not superimposing Jesus on the Passover. We're just simply noticing that it was always in there.
mhm.
And that's
It
a
was
very different
revealed,
thing.
not
And he had
invented.
a lot of words to say about all that.
He sure
And he
did.
was not
Yeah,
he was not open to discussion on that. Is I saw you kind of tried,
yeah,
and then he was like he posted the same thing like four times in different orders of paragraphs, and it was it does come down to, though, it is a spiritual blindness, which is
yeah.
really frustrating, I think, for especially for people like you and me that really like information. We think, you get enough information and you show it to someone, and then there you go. Problem
They'll be
solved.
convinced, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
nope, nope,
nope.
usually never.
Yeah,
And
especially
it's
if you're talking to Muslims because they don't necessarily understand it.
mm,
Because the cousin marriage thing, but yeah.
but
I
it's
don't even mean that
yeah.
as an insult for any of the
No, I
Muslims
know
watching
it's
my guys,
it's
just
a
legitimately,
legitimate
like, it's a problem. Yeah.
but it's also a problem that is redeemable through Jesus at the same time.
Mhm,
It's there is no problem too big or too bad or too evil or too hopeless. So it is something to point out. There's something to that, in unfortunately in a lot of areas, but it is something that is not a permanent state of being or not redeemable through Jesus. So no offense meant by that, obviously, but
mhm,
it is a valid. description of a difficulty that exists,
Mhm.
unfortunately, in a lot of areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we
So
probably canceled ourselves 3 or 4 times this evening. Chris, what do you think you do?
I had a Muslim, so my editor is not a white man, and
Mm,
he put in a joke about Muslims who like are hypocrites and like they go out and they party, they drink and everything else. And as a black dude in the meme, and it has a ninja emoji instead of the N word.
mhm.
And I had a Muslim be like, "How dare you use that?" And like you're a white man. I'm like, it's a meme. I didn't make the meme. I didn't even put the meme in the video. My editor did. And
I
it's
didn't
what
even
they call
realize, is that a
themselves.
thing? Is that a the
Apparently,
ninja
yeah. Oh
emoji
yeah, the
is
ninja
okay.
emoji. Yeah, they
Is that
use
like
that.
a
Yeah,
like a how
a way
people
to get
say
past the
grape and
censors.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I could see that. I didn't realize that
But it's
that
the
was
black
a
community using it of themselves. And like, I'm
mhm.
obviously not being racist. Like, that's so stupid.
Yeah,
And
you
especially if
just
anyone like knows my background and my history. I grew up in the South. There's like
mhm.
3 white people in my neighborhood. Everyone else was black and Mexican. Like I was the minority in all my friend groups. All of them were mixed kids or just black or Mexican. And I'm like,
Mm.
I'm the only white guy here. Anyway, it's just I cannot stand people who get offended over silly, stupid things.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. If I get canceled over not being offended at a I always thought this was Judah McAfee. uh People get offended over silly things. Granted, if YouTube does take this video down from any of that, that would be quite dumb. It got taken down. I'll tell you after the stream, so I don't want this stream to get taken down. But yeah, that video is fun. If you want to go watch on Rumble, go for it. It's on Rumble.
Is that
Yeah,
the
any
game show one?
yeah, the full game show. After the game show, I got a little zesty. And during the game show, I had a segment I had to cut that involved the Islamic State in it. So
Okay.
anyway, and the Yehudim. Anyway, not gonna cancel myself again. So
Mm.
yeah, any last thoughts before we pick up next week?
No, I do think it's funny that we get together, we have a topic, and then we don't get to visit. I always think like, oh man, we're gonna get into this in-depth stuff, and we always touch on it, and then there's this pops up, this pops up. So I'm looking forward to the next one when we can get into some other stuff. But obviously, I am a Torah observant Christian, and the commandments we did touch on how old they are and how hate to use the word, but progressive they were, even in historical context for their time. And I would just like to point out that as someone whose entire life is based around them to this day, they work very well in well, they don't harmonize with modern society, but it's not like something where, I don't eat seven dates in the morning to protect myself against poison or this or that. It's not a lot of people, they come to Holy Scriptures and they think, there's going to be some weird stuff in there. There's going to be something that doesn't make sense. Really, when it comes to the Torah, when it comes to the biblical commandments, uh, I mean, even Jesus said that the two greatest commandments hang on all of the Torah hangs on the two greatest commandments, which are love God and love your neighbor. So every
Mhm.
commandment in the Torah stems from
It's based
it,
on
it, it
love.
accomplishes one of those. It's all about love.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it is a really, I encourage people to dive deeper into it, read more of it, study it,
Yeah.
and definitely give it a chance, because I guarantee you, whether you're someone like Chris or someone like me, because we obviously don't at the moment agree on exactly the obligation of it. But I do
At the
guarantee
moment.
that the more that you read it and the more that you study it and the more that you I guarantee that your thoughts as a Christian are not completely biblical. I think there's been a lot of anti law that has overtaken the church, and uh, d- definitely need to look into it some more. And don't think don't think you're going to open up the book and be like, oh, there's slaves and there's this and there's that. It's not. It's really not going to shock you. Uh, and again,
Mhm.
keep Jesus' words in mind that every commandment in the law has either to do with loving God or loving your neighbor.
Right.
And if you keep that in mind, you really can't go wrong when you go to the laws, even the ones that might
Mhm.
shock you. There's some might even be worth talking about on it on its own stream, about some things that really kind of scare people, about like the stoning of the disobedient son.
Adulterous? Oh, oh
The
yeah. I want to
son,
bring that up.
that one,
Yeah.
because even the Jews, I feel like I think the Jews lie about that, because I
I don't
think they were
think
worried that,
so.
well, because they say that it was never really enacted. It was just there as an
Right.
example. And I don't agree with that that framing of the commandment. Not to
Okay.
say that, uh, well, anyway, maybe another time. But
I
Christians,
think we'll get into it next week. But
okay, okay,
yeah. So
but
yeah, that's kind of the whole point of the law is God is focusing on the hearts of men, not
mm,
on strict adherence to arbitrary laws. He is trying to prepare us in a way to get our hearts ready for a Messiah, to get our
mhm,
hearts ready for grace, to get our hearts ready for living in relationship with Him. That's the purpose of the law. It's the purpose of all of this. And whenever you ignore that, whenever you think of the law as something lesser than that, then you miss entirely the Sermon on the Mount, which is just the law. It's just a retelling of the law. So the law with
mhm.
slightly more strict virgins, but it's the law exposed to what it's supposed to be. Is your heart is supposed to be for God. You're supposed to be like David, with a man after God's own heart, with a desire of godliness, a desire of goodness, a desire of Yahweh. And whenever we fall away from that, whenever we ignore that, whenever we go far from the law, we miss what we're supposed to be in. Nah, I wouldn't say like observing it, but that's its own thing. Uh, we're missing the depth and the beauty of the scriptures, of God's relationship with us, what Jesus actually fulfilled. We're missing so much of that. But yeah.
So someone
Thank
I
you
just saw,
again, McCain, for that.
I see
The
Psalm
super
one
chat
nineteen
for Psalm
fifteen.
119.
That
Yeah.
that's what I'll make my end statement is. Whatever Christians, whatever you think about the law, the longest chapter in the Bible, Psalm 119, which
Is
is
about the
also a
law.
beautiful acrostic poem in Hebrew. It's
Hmm.
completely about the law. Go read that, and if what you think about the law or what you've been taught about the law doesn't line up with Psalm 119, then let that be a message to you that maybe you need to rethink some things.
Right. The law is amazing. And Psalm 119 is the greatest. I don't want to sugarcoat any of my words here. Psalm 119 in the Hebrew is the greatest thing humans ever wrote down in history. I think it's fair to say that. Like as far as poetry goes, it's by far the
Hmm.
best. As far as content goes, and as far as like I can't really think of anything that is more depth to it from a linguistic standpoint, from a poetry standpoint, from a meaning standpoint. There's so much beauty in Psalm 119. It is fire all the way through. And whenever you start studying it in the Hebrew and you start seeing the patterns, you start seeing the
Hmm.
stanzas, you start seeing the structure of it, it is it's humbling. It really is. And it's like, well,
Especially when
how
you
could
consider that
people write
Jesus
this?
is literally the living Torah.
He's the living
Jesus
word, yeah.
is the living law of God.
Right.
It's an ode to Jesus, and at the same time, so again, just kind of anybody out there who used to be like me, where you think, admittedly, when I was growing up, the law was a curse given to the Jews because they were disobedient. That's what I was taught. So if
Mhm.
you've got any kind of thinking like that, or even whatever you think about the law, go to the Bible to let the Bible define for you how you ought to feel for the law, because it was written by your God for you from your God. So give it a chance. Give it a chance if you haven't. And if you have, go and read Psalm 119 and see what God and see what David think about the law, and make sure that you
Mhm.
are in line with that.
Yeah. And next week we're gonna go through, I think, more chapters. We're gonna try to limit the tangents to actually like get through a couple chapters because we
Mm.
got through 1.5 today. So, but to finish off for Jack Ray because he's like game show. Last or 2 weeks ago, I streamed an impromptu game show I created, and it got taken down because I said something. I was quoted the Quran and Hadith. I quoted the Quran, and YouTube took my video down.
Seems pretty Islamophobic.
So because of that, it's on Rumble now. If you want to go check out, I put a post on it. Cut out just the hour-long game show. The whole stream is 3 hours, and I went through some of the most disgusting things inside the Islamic sources in that live stream. I'll put it in the description of this video here in a minute after we're done streaming. But anyway, okay. Anything else you want to say before we hop off?
Just thank you. Thank you, Chris, especially. And thanks for everybody who's watching and who has watched and who comments. And uh, it's really, really cool. It's a highlight of my life to be able to do stuff like this. So thanks
Hmm.
to everybody, and God bless everybody. And think that covers my remarks for the evening.
Amen. All right. Uh, so he quoted the bet passage inside of Psalm 119. That's actually one of my favorite songs right now. I think it's an AI generated song, but it's so good. I don't really care. I'll put that in the
Oh wow.
description too for you, McCain. It only has like 80,000 views or something like that. But I love it so much. So I'll put that in the thing. And I think I'm making an intro song that is going through bets for Psalm 119 in Hebrew. I think that's going to be my intro song.
Oh,
So
that's pretty cool.
pretty based. Anyway, okay. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit with you always. See you next week for the same topic. Laila Tov.
Lila Tov.